Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time to nerd fight!
Step into the ring, it's time to brawl. Nerd fights, baby, we're geeking for all. Marvel, DC, Trek, and more. Pop culture battles, settle the score. Nerd fights, let's get loud. Nerd fights, yeah, for the geeky crowd. Nerd fights, hey, it's time to throw down. Bring your fandom, it's the hottest showdown. Who's got the takes? Who's got the heat? Mr. Know-It-All and Salty can't be beat.
We're talking about the all-new episode of Lower Decks, and Anson Mount tells fans to f*** off.
Let's fight!
That means only one thing. It's time to fight.
Beat drops out with a final shot.
Nerd Fights.
Let's fight!
Oh my god, that's the greatest thing ever. Because obviously I'm trying to put stuff together still. We haven't had a chance to update the intro.
Yeah, we've only been gone for a freaking month and a half, and you couldn't
No, I
record a
just
30-second
totally
sound.
no legit. Anyway, welcome to Nerd Fights. I am, of course, Mr. Know-It-All, and joining me is the salt monster himself, Salty. How's it going, man?
Well, sorry, I had to take off my usual filter that I have on, so
Is that
you
right?
got to get the real me today.
That's awesome. I need to get you an AI avatar so
Yeah.
you can just have this. Oh my god! So everybody's asking about the thumbnail picture because I don't know if you saw I made one,
Oh no,
and
I
I
guess for those of you that don't know, the reason that it's a still image is my webcam just decided, hey, I'm going to take a dump 10 minutes before you're about to connect to Mr. Know-It-All. So
no, it's awesome.
I've tried every USB cable I have in here. I've tried every open USB slot in the computer, and I
Fair
don't
enough.
have another camera handy. So sorry.
No, you're good. So it's funny because I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay, I'm in like the pseudo studio because so yesterday I made the announcement that on my channel that I'm going to be I'm revamping the studio space. We actually Mrs. Know-It-All and I tore out the old space right today. That's why I'm super echoey because nothing's absorbing sound right now. And this is my new work area, but you see the mess. But it's funny. I'm like, I can't go on your plane, so I threw a colored light in the background real quick. I was like, I gotta do something. But yeah, no, we're it's Nerd Fights, man. We're gonna be. This is the thumbnail literally said, but it was I AI generated a picture of you, by the way.
Oh, did
And
you?
so, yeah, so literally, and I slapped a picture of me over it. So it looks like we're sitting at a table kind of having a discussion. And it's like the Too Much to Cover special edition episode.
Yeah, I look like I'm 80.
You know? So every time I tried to generate somebody with just a goatee, it would never give it to me. So I was like, you know what? Whatever, fine. The guy's got a full beard. Who cares? So I put at the corner, not actually Salty for illustration purposes
You
only.
should have just used the salt monster.
Oh my god, that's awesome! I probably should have. But yeah, man, no, it's been a long time, hasn't it?
It's been a
It's
long road.
it has been. Oh my gosh. Oh my
Getting
god. Oh, by the way,
further ahead.
so you got me very interested, and we do need to continue watching Enterprise on the Patreon. Enterprise is really good. It's starting to get really good. I'm enjoying. You were right. Third season got interesting.
Yes.
Plus, when you look at and then they had Jolene on Lower Decks, which I thought was great.
Yeah, yeah.
So
So,
yeah, man,
but that means they've decanonized Enterprise, of course.
that's right. I can't anymore.
Yeah, they've also
No, and
by the way, they've also decanonized Star Trek 2, Star Trek 3, Star Trek: The
all of
Next
it,
Generations, and Star
all of
Trek:
the
First
things.
Contact, Insurrection, and Nemesis. So all that's
When
decanonized based on these idiots that are out there saying, "Oh, look, Klingorks! They've
the
decanonized
copyright
Klingorks."
date, the copyright date is the real that controls the canon, and I'm like, get out of here. But no, so it's funny when Lore. I think I told you this yesterday. Lore Reloaded got into it online a month ago, and when that whole thing came down, somebody's like, "Well, that's right, it's this and that," and then he's like, "Wait, what? What? Well, I don't think that's." And all he says is, "I don't think that what that means," and he gets very respectful. And the dude once rips him one, and then he comes back, and then the guy proceeds to go, "Well, you're fat," and I'm
Yeah.
like,
Well,
"That's the argument."
the
What are
only
we
person Laura threw
doing?
any kind of shade at in that video was me. But which is
Great.
perfectly fine. He can, he and I have been doing that for literally decades. So
Right.
so
No, fair. That's
yeah,
fair.
that's perfectly okay. But but no, and of course, I put out my own video on the subject, which I don't know if you ever.
Yep.
Okay, and I basically completely agree and show the clips decanonizing TNG and Star Trek 2 and Star Trek 3 and all that.
Well, because if it did it for one, it had to do it for everybody.
Yeah, you
So,
got to be consistent within your universe.
oh my
And
God,
so
Stanley comes
basically,
in with, I was going to say, Salty looked great in the thumbnail.
so, but here's what we can learn from the final episode of Lower Decks: Star Trek is not canon.
No, for sure.
That's it. So
For sure. Yeah. I love the. So, okay. Where do you want to start? Just talk, because we're just talking, by the way, this is a very, very low production value episode. At the end of the day, I'm pausing to fix everything and get everything up and running. Actually, I may just dress this up and we could probably, while I'm doing this, still do nerd fights if that's cool. Because
it's up to you. I mean, it's going to depend on how.
emotional,
Yeah.
I can do this.
Well, depending on your energy level and how you feel about it,
I appreciate it.
I leave the ball in your court.
No,
So
that's fair.
if you,
But I know on
but
my
I will,
channel, I'm taking a break till February 1st. February
right,
1st is when Mr. Know channel is going to revamp it, and that's going to come out with
right.
the new set and everything. So,
But I will say this:
yeah.
until such time as Mr. Know It All comes back, I will continue to do solo shows like I did this week.
Right on.
So I'll just show up at the regular scheduled time and just hang out and
And if
talk about it.
I'll be here or I won't be here.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to be here because I really,
If you
again, this
see
was
an
easier to set
AI,
up than I thought.
yeah, if you see a cheesy AI generated thumbnail, you know Mr. Know It All will be here.
It's right. It's right.
If there's
That's
basically
awesome.
no thumbnail at all, it means it's me.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great. No,
Yeah.
for real. This is what I'll keep chimed in. She goes, "You look amazing," and I think she's talking to you. No, I'm kidding.
Oh,
She's
thank you.
definitely.
And
Oh my God, I love it. But yeah, man. So let's talk about some stuff. What did I miss? No, I'm kidding. There's a whole bunch of things to talk about. What do you
oh
want? Where do you want
man.
to hit first?
Okay, so a couple of things that I don't know if you're
Oh, and I
aware.
saw the trailer you said finally.
Oh yeah. So, but there's one thing I did not know about until today, even though it's not brand new news, but I didn't know
Okay.
about it until today, and that is the pending lawsuit against Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively,
Yeah, and Blake Lively and what's his face? The guy from, I can't remember his
the
name
guy
right
that
now.
directed the movie she was in, but then
How sad is that? I don't remember his name.
yeah,
The actor who's in that nonsense.
right, and and his allegation is basically now it started with she said that there was sexual misconduct on set.
Right, well, it
And
ends with us. Extra scenes, intimate scenes were added that she wasn't comfortable with, and she said she didn't want to do them. And then, which suddenly they used all of her very correctly not wanting refusal to do certain things as a like trigger to start bashing her publicly.
right,
And so he unleashed this anti-PR campaign against her, which came out because text messages from those PR people came out,
right.
and
So then
which again raised its own issues about whether or not should that have happened. Were the
right.
PR people, can they trust anyone? And it's like, okay, well, first off, y'all suck. Second off, I guess your privacy is important, but
Well, and
you
so
know,
if we're to take Blake Lively's word on this, and
yeah.
I don't see why we wouldn't at this point.
I'm listening. I just got to grab my drink
Yeah,
off the other side of the
because it
store. Good.
also kind of and the reason I believe this is because it kind of semi corroborates one of the accusations from what's his face. I'm sorry, I can't remember his name.
Me neither. He's Jason. Oh, Jason Baldoni. Jason Baldoni.
Yeah, Jason Baldoni, I think. But
Whatever his name
we'll
is.
just call him Jason because I'm not gonna worry about that last name.
No, totally.
But anyway, um, Jason
Jason
was
Balchinian
yeah.
from.
Now Jason was saying that she brought in Ryan to rewrite some scenes for the movie, which he
Which
apparently he did,
he's an
and then
accomplished writer. I mean, he can do
right,
that.
and then they did those as reshoots to take care of the sex problem. And she says
Hey,
that
Penny.
Sony actually asked her to basically take over those scenes and do that. And he says that no, she's just trying to steamroll him and take over the movie.
So the reason I think that I believe her, and not because we should always believe the victim to start with, but what I do believe is
well, in the
that
business, nobody
makes
could
I
have
can
just
logically see that
yeah,
because she
because you
could
can't
easily have
just do
told
a
them I got.
production without the higher ups knowing.
Well, and she could always be like, "Look, I have a problem with these scenes. We need to do something." And maybe she made a very light threat, like, "Listen, I'm not okay with this, and if we don't change it, I'm going to walk." And
I
they're
think
like,
she did
and she's
threaten to
like,
walk. I think that
and
is
I can see them being like, "Listen, your husband's a writer, Ryan. If he wants to, where you work with you and write, so I could very well see that plausibly happening."
right. Now, here's the hilarious part of this lawsuit. So then he turns around and says, and he's suing for $400 million for defamation. Okay.
The movie didn't even make four
No,
hundred
no, no, no.
million
But here's the
dollars.
thing.
Did it?
Defamation. Well, he is claiming that the movie would have made more money if all this drama didn't happen, which is complete BS because only
Okay,
the
it made just
insiders.
shy. It
Yeah,
made 351 million
yeah,
worldwide.
right. But there's not. That you got to cut. Take the
Oh
movie
yeah, no,
theater
all the
space.
things and
Yeah.
right. I'm like, so he's asking for more than the movie made,
Yes.
which
But
makes no sense.
right, and
What's
his
up, Trek
argument is
Reviewer?
that his argument is the movie would have made more without the drama. But let's be real. Movie box
I feel
office
like
is not based on behind the scenes drama. There was
I
behind the
feel like
scenes
the movie
drama.
probably did better because of the drama. Like to be
Well,
fair, like
there was
people found
behind the
out
scenes
about it because of the drama.
there was behind the scenes drama on Deadpool and Wolverine. Remember, Ryan Reynolds actually had to fight Marvel for a little bit to get some of the stuff in that he wanted. And even though it all worked out in the end, there was some infighting and there were a lot of stories about that when it was going on.
Sure. Hey there,
However,
what's up, Mike Porter?
yeah. However, everybody going to see Deadpool and Wolverine didn't give a crap about the behind the scenes infighting. They just want to
No.
see Deadpool and Wolverine slice each other up and heal and slice each other up again.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
so.
That's why I went.
But here's the defamation part that I think is so funny,
Okay.
and it's clearly not defamation, but he says it is. He claims, and I am not making this up, that Ryan Reynolds created a major character in cinema just to mock him.
Which, by the way, though ludicrous as it sounds,
Yes.
historically speaking,
And-
people in Hollywood have
yes,
done more for
but
for
it's the
less reason.
character. But it's the character in question. The character in question is Nice Pool from Deadpool and Wolverine. And the thing
Yeah.
about and the thing about Nice Pool is Nice Pool, the whole reason that Deadpool and Wolverine find Nice Pool so annoying is because he's perfect.
Yeah, totally.
If you know what, if Ryan Reynolds wants to make fun of me by bringing out some perfect looking middle-aged man, bring it on. Thank you.
Okay. All right, let's be fair. Middle aged. Let's be fair. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay. 2/3 aged. How's
No,
that?
I got you. I'm not with you. No, but yeah, dude, I'm with you. It's like, what the hell, man?
So yeah,
Oh my God, that's right. I hear Stanley, and I've never even heard of this guy they're supposed to be making fun of. Bro,
right.
me too. Jason Balchinian. I don't know anything about that guy other than like I knew he was involved in that movie, but and then of course I heard because
Even
my
know the
it's
name of the
funny.
movie.
Baby Know It All was telling me about what a difficult personality Blake Lively had before all this broke out, and then it broke out, and then that about the bad negative PR they hired that Balchinian hired against. By the way, I'm calling him that because I do not know how to pronounce his last name. I'm not being
You're
mean
not
or on
trying to
purpose.
be derogatory.
Yeah, I have no clue what his name is. I think it's Baldini or Baldellini or something. Anyway, whatever. But yeah, so my daughter had fallen prey to the whole, oh well, she's a hard person to work with
It's
and everything else.
Justin Baldoni.
Baldani, got it. Okay, Justin Baldani.
Yeah.
I think Balchinian still sounds funny now, but
Yeah.
Baldani, got it. Justin Baldani.
Now I will, and he says that there's a passing, that there's a resemblance between Nice Pool and him.
He certainly has a high estimate of himself. That's
Yes,
all
and
I'm
because I'm
saying.
looking at him, and number one, he's not even white. So
Is Justin Canadian? Because good Canadian boy Ryan Reynolds, okay, played him, and I don't know if you're allowed to do that now. Is that
no, he's American.
all right?
Um,
I know
but
who he
yeah,
is. I'm like, whatever.
and he's an idiot. But
Clearly,
I mean, I do not and the thing about defamation is, I mean,
it's yeah, that's rough.
Yeah, in order to prove defamation, you have to prove A, that something was said directed against you, B,
Right.
that the person saying it, in this case, Ryan Reynolds, knew that it was untrue.
Right.
C, and it's a four-part thing. C, his intent must have been to cause you damage. And D, it must have caused you damage.
So right here is a good example. Stanley comments, I thought Nice Pool was supposed to be making fun of Ryan Reynolds, which, by the way, so did most everybody,
Yeah,
which is going to make what you just outlined very difficult for them to prove in court. Because I do believe most people believed he was making fun of him.
right.
Like it was the real life
Especially
like this
because
version of Deadpool was most like Ryan Reynolds.
right, 'cause especially like when he looks at the camera and does his fourth wall break and stuff.
Dude, it's there's a gif of old Ryan Reynolds as a young man doing that same look toward the camera.
Oh
Like
yeah,
there's seriously, that's what I thought he was mimicking. I thought he was making fun of the gif that's running around to spin around forever of him looking at the camera and doing that little kid or whatever look. Yeah, but anyways, so yeah,
well,
that's crazy. That whole thing's ridiculous.
it absolutely is, and I'm about to prove my point in just a second
Are
here.
you really?
All right, so we need to. Oh shoot, there's not just a share photo, is there? So I'll just
Make it a thing.
well, I'll just share screen and maximize the image. Share screen window, and there we go.
Mike Porter says, I'm a huge MCU
Right.
fan. I like to love everything except Secret Invasion, although it had some good stuff. True story, sir. But I know I'm in the minority. No, man, I'm down. I'm a huge
You know,
MCU fan too.
I
I love most
I am
things.
still an MCU fan, and so
Agreed.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm definitely make mine Marvel. All right, take a look at the image I just
I
put up.
got you. Hang on. And let's close the comment and open that up here. Bing, bing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're like twins, man. I mean, come
That's
on.
awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah,
This guy is, yeah, he's just not, I don't know what he's thinking. I really don't.
yeah.
So but
Just so you
apparently
know,
he
I did
thinks
not pick that picture when I searched for images. That just happened to come up
that
somewhere.
was the side by side that came up.
Yeah, somebody actually did that side by side. So
Nice. That's awesome. Oh my God. But yeah, no. No, I'm an MCU fan too. Going back to Mike Porter real quick. I'm a
okay,
huge
well,
MCU fan.
here's a great transition. Then, how about Daredevil?
Bro. That was one of I'm telling you right now,
But I
that is
have not heard
arguably
anything from you on this. Just so everybody knows,
okay.
I told Mister Know It All that the trailer dropped in to watch it,
I haven't
but
had a chance to watch it yet, and I finally watched it yesterday.
yeah,
It's darn amazing. I feel like
I think I
that
told you it was
feels
effing amazing, and I didn't say
yeah.
effing.
No, it felt so incredibly like the Netflix one in terms of just the style and tone. And I it was what I was hoping they were going to do. And yeah, it looked good. It looked good. Mike Porter definitely said Daredevil's so awesome. He
Well,
really is
and here's
for
the thing.
sure.
Now, you know that, and this is one of the reasons that
Explain what you explained to me though that I did that I got now because you explained it. So I was looking at it about that conversation with him and Kingpin. You got to walk
oh
through this.
yeah, well,
Spoilers, if you don't want to know about Daredevil, get out because we're going to talk about
yeah.
the
Well,
trailer,
we're
which
just
is
talking about the
that's
trailer, so
yeah.
it's not
Well,
like
some
the
people
big
want to go in. Some people want to go in blind, so I'm
yeah.
purposely going to put the spoiler warning up just in case.
Right. So the basic premise of the series appears to be, and I say appears to be because this is just a trailer, and trailers can be misleading.
Sure.
But Kingpin is now mayor of New York City.
Right.
There is a new villain in town, Muse, and Muse,
Yeah.
classically from the comic books, I say classically with a little bit of sarcasm because he's a very recent character,
Right.
but Muse is a assassin who goes after political figures. And so and Kingpin now is threatened by Muse, and the only person that can protect Kingpin is Daredevil. Now, the conversation they're having over coffee is basically Kingpin trying to sell Daredevil on the fact that he just wants the best for the city, and Daredevil being like, "Yeah, I have a tough time believing you."
It's a hard sell, but at the same time, also, are we to infer that Daredevil had been I say semi-retired, but had
No,
not been actively being a
because
hero.
he said, "Why did you stop being a vigilante?" It
Right.
wasn't inferred; it was
Well,
explicit.
okay. Okay. I want to make
Yeah,
sure.
he said, "Why did you stop being a vigilante?" To which his response is, "A line, not I crossed a line." He said, "A line was crossed." Now,
Got
which is an
it.
interesting way to phrase it, because
Yeah.
that means they can do it could be Daredevil did something, like maybe he accidentally killed somebody, or maybe because of his actions, someone else killed somebody. You know,
I wonder if they're gonna how much they're gonna reference the actual events of the Netflix series. Because so far, unless I'm kind of taking it a little bit like Star Wars, unless they explicitly say or put something forward, my understanding is just that this is their version of Daredevil, but with that lens. I don't
no, no,
necessarily know if
the,
it's 100%.
the official word on this is this that the Netflix series are canon to the MCU.
Okay, cool. Okay,
And
awesome.
so this is a direct sequel to
Yeah,
Daredevil season 3.
very cool.
And
I'm down.
so
Which essentially makes it Daredevil the next season, so to
yeah,
speak. It would be the next
this is
season,
Daredevil
unofficial
season
season
4.
4.
Yeah.
Which there's precedent because they did that with Star Wars Clone Wars when they brought the new season. It
Right.
was just the next season, even though because it had been canceled for a while.
Right. And so and there are references, by the way, within the trailer to other MCU properties, but you got to look for them. For example, when they show the big Times Square moment and you see Kingpin on the big video monitors addressing the
Right,
crowd,
right.
if you look carefully, on one side of the screen, you can actually see a Broadway marquee for Rogers the musical from Hawkeye.
Got it. So they okay.
And
Mike Porter asked a really good question. He says, "You guys know a lot because the multiverse is all the Marvel properties now part of the MCU, or is it kind of MCU adjacent?"
some of
I
it is
would,
MCU adjacent, some of it is because okay, so I'll let me do the quick rundown. In the film verse, because this does not include comic books, just to be absolutely clear, comic
yeah,
books are not canon to the film franchise. However, in the film franchise, what we have called for the last 20 years almost, uh, is the 616 universe. That was established
right,
in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness.
right.
Okay, so this which
Which, by the
some
way,
people
the comic books are called 616.
yeah, so
Also,
some
the
people took
main
umbrage to that because
timeline.
the main universe in the comics is also the
Right.
616. But what we've called the MCU is the 616.
We're
Now,
so nerdy.
yeah,
We're so nerdy. It's ridiculous, bro.
what they have established is that Deadpool season 4 now is in the
Daredevil,
616
Daredevil,
universe. This Deadpool, the entire Netflix
Daredevil.
series.
You keep saying Deadpool, Daredevil.
Oh gosh, why did I say yeah?
And
I'm
because they
sorry,
sound super
Daredevil.
similar.
Yeah, I know. Daredevil, they look similar. They're
No,
nothing like
totally.
each other, but they do look similar. Um,
Yeah.
but
Hey,
so
what's
yeah,
up, Captain Jollar? He
so
says he does
Daredevil,
kill
yeah.
vampires.
So all 4 seasons of Daredevil are in the 616 universe.
Copy.
They're just considered part of the whole Disney Plus show.
I think things like Agents of Shield it would be considered adjacent,
Right.
meaning
Agents of
those
Shield is
are
not in the 616.
it's not in the 616, but it is in their multiverse.
Right. As
Same thing with
the
Inhumans.
the X-Men films, the Daredevil films, the Tim
Right.
Story Fantastic Four films. There's no word on
Yes.
Fant Four Stick. So not, however,
Apparently, I just found out. Apparently, there was a version of the Daredevil versus Wolverine. I mean, Daredevil. See, now I'm doing it. Wolverine versus Deadpool script where
Daredevil,
Wolverine was supposed to kill the fantastic Mr. Fantastic from the Fan Four Stick,
I would have rather
and
they
we're gonna
killed
get that
Doctor Doom,
actor.
to be honest. That would have been
No,
awesome. Like
yeah,
have Doom
well,
show up and start popping heads of people, and
it's
Wolverine just
awesome.
one punch to the face with his claws, and it's over. Um,
Right on.
but
Sorry,
the because that Doctor Doom was so dumb. Anyway, the so yeah,
he was bad.
all this
Oh
stuff
yeah, that would have been
is
great. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Totally, it would have been good. Get that guy.
yeah,
That poor schlub.
yeah.
That was a
So
terrible. I loved the Tim Story ones much better. That Doctor
yeah.
Doom, even though it was a goofy origin, at least he looked like Doctor Doom with the mask and everything. So anyway,
Now
whatever.
there are rumors, and they are just rumors at this point, that the casts of the Tim Story films and the Josh Trank film may show up in Secret Wars. So we may actually get all 3 Fantastic Four teams.
I agree. What's up, Creek? He says, "What's going on here in my
And in
stuck in the
fact,
mirror
we actually have
universe?"
we actually have the Fantastic Four from the 818 universe as well, Doctor Strange.
I can't wait for that. I want to
Yeah.
see. I really do want to see that. It's gonna
So
be good. I think it's gonna be good.
you actually have 4 Fantastic Fours in the multiverse, which is interesting. 4 fours, that's kind of cool.
That's poetry.
Yes,
It's like poetry.
It
It
rhymes.
rhymes.
Yeah.
For those of you who follow George Lucas. Moving
Yes.
on. All right, what
So
else we got? What else we got we haven't talked about?
okay, so basically, bottom line, Daredevil, awesome.
Shoot, that was a wonderful trailer. It was
Yeah.
wonderful. I'm excited. I'm stoked. Let's go.
There has been some new footage of Captain America released in trailer form, showing more of Red Hulk, a little bit more.
Yes.
Um,
There was
and
this massive debate about that online. And it
what's
was
that?
actually I had when I was trying to see if we were going to be able to be on. I had told you that we were going to fight about that. It was this. It was whether who would actually win, Red Hulk or what's his face, Sam Wilson, Captain America, and which by the way, the reason I call him Sam Wilson, Captain America is because in the comic books, that's the title of his book, Sam Wilson, Captain America.
Right.
So that's why I call him that
As
because I
opposed to
figured.
Steve Rogers, Captain America. Yes.
Right, which who has always, let's be fair, his comic title has always just been
Yeah,
Captain
he's
America.
just Cap.
But
Yeah,
the distinction, and so I too am making the distinction.
right.
But
But
I'm not
you know
making
what? It's like this. If I say Captain James T. Kirk, I'm talking about William Shatner. If I
right,
say Kirk from Strange New Worlds, you know,
right, absolutely.
I'm talking about that the Jim Carrey Kirk. And if if I'm talking about teenage Kirk, then
By the
that's
way,
the
Creep
Jake
says you
Gyllenhaal.
look good on the 6th day of your fast.
Yes, I have to. You can see my mouth is like wanting to suck up any food that I
I
can
need
find.
something to eat.
Yes.
I love it so much.
But yeah, so
Stanley prefers Falcon Cap. Here's the thing: if not for the fact that actually rolls off the tongue well, Falcon
yeah, it
Cap,
actually does.
it kind of does.
Or he could call himself American Falcon.
Oh, see. Although not, but do you remember? Although they did make a big hit ruckus about that, where the kid was like, "Hey, what's up, Black Falcon?" And he's like, "Why? Because I'm a black guy." And then, so whatever.
Yeah. So I have one theory based on the new footage.
Go for it.
All right, and this is it's a minor thing, but it's my theory. I think
Oh, hang on. Captain Dollar calls back to Jim Carrey Kirk. Remember him?
Yeah,
Do you
that's
remember
what I
that
said.
sketch? That's one of my favorite
Jim Carrey
sketches,
did play
bro.
Captain Kirk. That's true.
It
I'm
was so
surprised
good
nobody's done a side by side of Jim Carrey as Captain Kirk versus Captain
with
Kirk
the new guy.
Yeah.
Ooh, they do have very similar like jawline and cheek.
Yeah,
Oh
they
yeah,
do,
totally.
and they're both tall and thin.
Yes.
So yeah.
Unlike you and I, who are just tall.
Yeah, so we're tall and thick.
Since Evan's cap is old, will we ever see Old Man Logan versus Old Man Captain America? That's a great question. I do know, my understanding is we may see a cameo of Steve Rogers either in Captain America Brave New World, or in Avengers, one of the 2 next coming Avengers movies, and he's going to be an old guy. My feeling is they may very well do, because in the comics, old Steve Rogers, without the super soldier serum, becomes the head of S.H.I.E.L.D., the new head of S.H.I.E.L.D. when they rebuild it.
So like Chris Evans could replace Samuel L. Jackson, basically.
Potentially, unless they do something. I'm more prone to believe the rumor that I speculated, and I
He's
do
playing
think
evil
he
Cap.
may. I would love that so much if in
I would tend to think that
Secret
too,
Wars he comes back as that hiding Cap. That would be so much fun
because actors love to do stuff like that, and so
yeah, he'd be cool too.
Yeah, I could see Steve. In fact, one of the prevailing theories is that in Doomsday, we're going to see it's going to kind of like Infinity War. It's going to follow Doom as he builds his evil Avengers from across the multiverse.
Bro, shut up. So the other part of that is in Fantastic Four. There's rumors. Again, it's rumors upon rumors, and we're speculating and just fan theorying here, everybody. So don't
Yeah,
think
but we're
like
having
we're
fun, so who cares?
yeah. So there's talk that it could be that um, uh, what's his Fantastic Four, they cause an incursion when they leave, because that apparently is our Fantastic Four, but they travel to another world, meaning from 616, but they're from the past, like the 60s, and they got their powers just being astronauts and scientists going to this other planet and going to this other place. When they
Going to
and
the
he's
other
been working,
universe.
and in that other universe, it's one of those like futuristic neo whatever
Right.
futuristic type societies. And then when they finally make when he builds a way to come back, it causes an incursion, and Robert Downey Doom is from that Earth.
Right, and that Robert Downey Doom is actually from the storyline where Doom swapped bodies with Tony Stark.
Is he
Uh,
really?
yeah,
No,
and
no.
no, it would make sense. And think
I
about
mean,
it,
it would make sense, but that's
because
I mean,
if he
yeah.
ever takes the mask off and nobody says, "Wow, you look exactly like Tony Stark," come on.
That's fine. You're right. They have to. That's the
Yeah,
only reason you cast him. And they've already said that he's only playing Doom during for this, and that eventually there will be a Doctor Doom for the 616 who is not him.
right.
So
And
it's
so
strictly,
we'll meet the
yeah,
Doctor Doom that did not switch bodies, um,
right.
and hopefully they'll cast a Eastern European for that, so that we get that perfect evil voice.
Had Latvian
In,
accent.
yeah,
It
I
was
am
nice
in
and
my
yeah.
volcano. Um, but yeah, so if Doom is building an evil Avengers,
Which is
me
the coolest idea I've heard yet.
right. So that means that when we get to Secret Wars, the teams, if you will be the evil Avengers, the Thunderbolts, and the good Avengers that are assembled by Sam.
Yes, which is supposed to consist more of some of the other people. I know some of my friends over at the Geeky Cast who are they're big scoopers everywhere and whatnot. They're talking about the possibility of having like She-Hulk, Captain Marvel, and some of the other
Right.
people.
You
My
need to
whole
bring
my
in the X
feeling,
Men. That would be a great time to bring in the X Men from some other universe.
yes, creep. I'm living in my mom's basement now.
He is literally in the basement. You just need to
No,
start
this is
talking through your
so.
sinuses.
This is the area of the so just for everyone's kind of geography. I'm in the same room I always am in, but there over that way is where I normally record at, which is where my old studio was. We've now pulled all that stuff out. This is what's always been here. This is my workstation when I do my day job. But this is working out really nice. I'm very much considering just keeping this as how I do these from now on. I'll probably dress up the back here a little more just so you guys have something to look at. But
Best
other than that,
comment
yeah,
of the
man.
night, by the way.
What is that? My living in my mom's best basement?
No,
Oh,
that's
no,
the one.
Tony the Tiger Doom, that would be great.
It would be great.
It's great. I love it. Totally. Let's see that. I want that so bad now.
Latveria is part of this nutritious breakfast.
That's right. Every, and everything is like normal world stuff, but it's all Doomified.
Yeah.
So it's the same commercial, but with him instead. Oh my God, that's awesome. Their McDonald's is like McDooms.
Oh man, for their life cereal commercial, here's what you have. You have the kid go, "Oh, I don't want to try it. You try it. I don't want to try it. You try it. Hey, let's get Victor." And then you have Doom come in and just blast them through oblivion.
Awesome.
Death
Oh my God.
cereal.
The cereal, and all you see is smoldering remains behind him.
Yeah.
Forgive me. Sorry, LA. It might be too soon.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, you think
oh
Uncle
my
Owen
God.
and Aunt Beru,
Stanley, I had a feeling Stanley was talking about me. He it looks like he just got divorced with his previous comment. He goes, "Where's the hot plate?"
Yeah.
Can you imagine? I'm like, I'm good. Divorce life is great. No, funny thing is, she's upstairs watching right now. I know from because she was gonna take a nap, but she can't help when I'm on the show. She likes to see what we talk about.
It's too bad because Danny, you made me think of him. Danny is twice divorced. Oh
Oh,
yeah, you
really?
gotta have a pee bucket.
Oh,
Oh my God, you're
no, this
sweet.
is apple juice. But I thought it was so funny because my wife said to me, she goes, "Are you using the bathroom in the thing now?" I said, "No, this is apple juice. What are you talking about?"
Okay, drink some.
No, don't, bro. I'm about to literally pour it in my cup because I finished my other drink. So you
Just take a
joke.
swig out of the bottle. Now say,
He's like, you're. He's
no,
like,
no.
you're
Now look at the
disgusting.
camera and say, actually, it's pretty good.
Actually, it's pretty good.
For those
Oh
of you
my
who don't
gosh.
know, that is a reference to "This Is the End."
Yes. I love This Is the End. This Is the End is a great movie, by the
When they
way.
were drinking their own pee. Yeah. So, um,
Tastes like vitamins.
yeah.
No.
I can't remember the guy's the black guy in the cast.
Yeah, man. Really creep. He's the worst.
Drinking
Behave
pee on
yourself.
ice. Yes. Hey, he'll drink more if you super chat me.
But only if Super Chat salty.
Yes. So yeah, if so if you have like you have the Doom Avengers, the Thunderbolts, the Good Avengers, say the X-Men, and nobody knows who the heck these guys are because they're from another universe.
Well, remember what I love is
Doctor Strange. Yeah.
Wolverine from that universe where Deadpool pulled him from was he knew about the Avengers. So they had a version of the Avengers in that world, which I think
But
is
the
cool.
X-Men were also all dead, so you
Right.
can't pull the X-Men from there. But you could
No, but the
also
point
bring
they
in
knew, but yeah.
you could now and here's what I would do, and I really, oh man, I so hope they're willing to do this. I know, Marvel gained a lot of cred back with me with
Shut up,
Deadpool.
creep. I'm not even gonna put that up. Don't you dare put that up. Go on, move on.
I they got a lot of cred back with me with Deadpool and Wolverine. The fact
Yeah.
that the Marvel was willing to let them get away with some of the stuff they did.
True.
And,
But I kind of feel like that was like they were like, we have to show them that we're serious. That
well,
we're serious
keep
about
in
letting
mind
this
there was a
be,
lot of reshoots after Feige announced the retooling, and
right.
and so I think
Well,
Feige
and don't
based.
forget, reshoots are a standard operating
No,
procedure
I'm
these
not saying they're
days.
not, but I think that
Right.
at that point, what probably happened is there was a conversation where Feige was like, you know what, Ryan, you're right, do it your way,
Yeah, I can see that.
and
I can
so
totally see that.
yeah, and so that's kind of, I know that's just headcanon, but that's kind of what I think happened. But
That's
the
okay.
but yeah, so you have the X-Men pop in, but so then you do after Secret Wars, that's when you release the next Deadpool movie.
Mm.
And the next Deadpool movie will be called Deadpool's Secret Wars,
Or
which is,
no, dude, I need a short. Deadpool kills the Marvel universe.
well,
All it has to be
you know what? Marvel
is
will probably do a one shot of that. I wouldn't be,
totally. I just be
yeah.
like while they're filming, just let them do scenes where they're all getting
But
taken
no,
out.
now there was actually a comic book called Deadpool's Secret Wars. And
Really?
yes, and
Oh my
it's
god, I gotta look that
hilarious.
up now.
I have it. It's absolutely hilarious. Now it's based on the 1986 Secret Wars, not the later one. But
Oh, I got you. I got you.
so what happened was it starts out with and you could do the movie exactly like the book except adjust for whatever they do in their version of Secret Wars.
Here it is. Deadpool Secret Wars.
Oh, you looked it up? Yeah.
Yeah.
So it starts out with Deadpool basically saying, "Hey guys, I know a lot of you guys think that I wasn't a thing until after Secret Wars, but I was there. It's just that the editors at Marvel Comics didn't want you to see me."
Is that what it is?
And so then it goes back and redoes panels from Secret Wars,
With
except
him in it?
Deadpool's there.
Did they do the art and everything?
Yeah, it looked very much
That's
like.
awesome.
So, like, they did the scene with Hulk holding up the mountain and Deadpool sitting there
Yes.
making jokes, and just
That's awesome.
yeah.
Oh, I love that.
So,
Oh my
but yeah,
god.
so if they could do so, and the beauty is, even though it would be technically a big blockbuster movie with cameos galore, it would be
Yeah.
dirt cheap for them to make because all they got to do is film it while they're making Secret Wars,
Which
and
is how they did a lot. They do a lot of stuff like that.
right, and so instead of having to recreate scenes from Secret Wars, all they do is like they shoot it once and then they shoot it again with Deadpool.
Awesome.
That
Or even then, or they could even just have anybody in the costume and just have him voice stuff. You know what I mean? Have
right.
whoever their Deadpool guy is and just knock it out and just do that. Friggin' that's so the Christmas special for the Guardians of the Galaxy was filmed at the same time because he had the idea and he was like, "Hey Kevin, I have an idea for a Christmas special and it's not going to cost any more. We can do it right now with everything we currently have." And he was like, "Okay." So seriously, I mean that's
I
the word
I
on the
love that.
street. But
I love the fact that they canonized Kevin Bacon.
yeah, dude, that's so great.
That's the
No,
best
Kevin
thing
Bacon's
about that
amazing.
show. Is Kevin Bacon is now a hero in the Marvel universe.
And I
Kevin
believe he
Bacon
was
is.
indeed a hero.
And by the way, Kevin Bacon in the MCU is in space right now.
Really?
Yeah, because remember at the end of the
Oh,
special, he's
right.
he's out there hanging out with the Guardians.
It's true. It's
So
very true.
yeah, so I would love to see like if in Secret Wars, I mean, imagine the Guardians of the Galaxy swooping in the ship and Kevin Bacon is on the ship.
And they're like, "How
So
long have
he's
you been
just like one of
here?"
the Guardians now.
Yeah, how long have you been here? He's like, I'm just doing whatever.
It's like
That's
yeah,
awesome. That'd be great.
it's Groot, Rocket, and Kevin Bacon. Yes,
The actor best known for being Kevin Bacon.
yes.
Right on, man.
So the so yeah, Marvel the only thing I'm really concerned with right now is will Thunderbolts be good? Uh,
It looks amazing. From all accounts, it looks like it's
yeah, but
really, I think it's
I'm
going to hit.
worried. I'm worried about them going too much in the anti-hero direction. That's my biggest concern. I don't
Well,
want you
I don't
know what I'm
necessarily know
saying?
that it's, I don't know that it's, I think it's about everybody wanting, I don't think they want to be anti-heroes. They want redemption. They all want to
Well,
be seen as good
Red
guys. They
Guardian
don't
wants
want,
redemption.
what, no, Red Guardian wants redemption. Yelena wants a purpose other than, because to her, doing the job she's been doing, being a Black
Boring.
Widow is not, yeah, it's stupid. She's like, it's the same old, same old. But where is the point of this? She needs her
But I say Red
Natasha
Guardian just
moments
wants
that
to be a
gave her
hero.
purpose. Natasha wanted purpose.
Yeah.
He wants to be a hero respected because he's Russia's first super soldier, and they pissed all over him. You know what I mean?
You
And
know
it's
what I would
like,
love is if in Secret Wars, Red Guardian gets to fight evil Captain America because he's been wanting to fight Captain America his whole
I can
life.
see that. That'd be
You know,
cool.
yeah, it's like
I think
finally
that should
I
be very
get to
cool.
fight Captain America. You know,
Totally, it's some. That's funny. What
and
what? So what else? What else haven't we talked about?
well, we haven't talked about a lot of stuff still. So, um, did Lower Decks stick the landing?
I thought it did. My question is, is there now a giant portal in this world that we don't? Is the portal canonical? Because they've
They
always
do
said
say
it's
that Lower
canon.
Decks is canonical,
So is there just now a giant interdimensional port? Because that's really what the point. The point is they've now created the ability to Star Trek across dimensions,
right?
and I think that's fine. I'm down. I mean, that was literally the point of the gal who they met in that ship, was that rather than coming up with warp drive, they came up with a quantum drive,
Right.
and their idea of exploration was going through the multiverse.
And yeah, I'm down for that. In fact, I don't think Thomas is here. Good. So that could be a gateway to something like the triple timeline.
I hate you so much. No, by the way, the minute it happened, I was like, triple timeline,
Yep.
triple timeline. I think I actually mentioned it in the finale episode that I just recently posted with Baby Know It All. Our last, I mentioned the triple timeline because I
Yep.
was like, there it
Well,
is.
so did Lore Reloaded, but in a snarky way.
Well,
But
whatever. They all, you know why they hate? They hate because they know that that's a brilliant dude. The first time I heard that, when you had me on this show as a guest, before I
yeah,
was with you as a co-host, I was floored. That whole idea captured my imagination to no end. Creep ass. So the TOS cartoons part of that universe. I thought we haven't they established the TOS cartoon
it,
is now
if you
canon or
look
no?
if you look at the official timeline, the TOS cartoon is on the timeline. So
That's what I thought.
yeah,
And Lower Deck showed us a giant skeleton of dead Spock, of
right.
giant Spock,
And so if
which
Lower
would
Decks is
be
canon, then Giant Spock happened.
Captain Jolly asks, "What is canon anymore? It's so hard to keep track, bro. You're not wrong. You're not wrong."
Well,
So
no,
my thing is
actually,
this: enjoy your show.
okay,
Just
so
enjoy
no,
it.
I'll tell you, it's hard to keep track in Star Wars. It's not hard to keep track in Star Trek. In Star Trek, it's very, very simple. If it's in a TV show or a movie, then it's canon. If it's anything else, it's not.
Unless it gets referenced in a TV show or
Only
movie.
the reference is canon, not necessarily the entire work.
So, for instance, there was a comic book accompaniment to the J.J. Abrams movie that showed the whole Romulan situation. Geordi built that ship that Spock comes in, and that is a canonical tie-in. That is part of the, but
Except that
only that.
no, it's not, because
I don't know.
that comic book featured a Captain Data.
Yeah, what's wrong with Captain Data? I know.
Because in Picard we made it
Maybe
very
we built him. Shut up. No,
in Picard we
no,
made it
he's
very
never
clear.
been. Yeah, he's
Yeah,
never
B4
been.
rejected the programming, and
Right.
Data is dead. So
Right.
so it was so canonically speaking,
Well,
that
they must
comic
have come from. Oh, that means they can't. That means that
they,
older Spock and that stuff was an alternate universe. Was another universe.
right, which is
Another.
part of
Would it be another
the
timeline?
timeline theory.
There it is.
Because actually
Hold on.
that's
What
the
is this? Creep. Anything done by Disney is a confetti streamer cannon with a unicorn rainbow farts.
Here's the funny thing. So let's talk about
It was
skeleton.
yes. It was retcon. Captain Jollar says he was retcon. You're absolutely right.
But
Go ahead.
let's talk about Skeleton Crew for a minute.
Yes.
We haven't
Okay.
talked about Skeleton Crew at all.
So I want to get the one thing out of the way that was always something from when we first started talking about it back in the day when it was announced. This was nothing like like that other Star Trek show.
I mean, Star Wars.
No, Star Trek. The one, remember, everyone was worried it was going to be like not Procter and Gamble. What the heck is that show's
Oh,
name?
Prodigy.
Protostar is the ship. Prodigy. Thank you. It was nothing like Prodigy in
No,
how it came to be, other than that's almost like saying Prodigy and Skeleton Crew are like Lost in Space.
no. You were
It's
going to call this,
it's
if you were going to call this a rip off of anything, the
yeah,
funny thing is it's a rip off of two other Disney properties, uh,
that's hilarious.
Treasure Planet and Pirates of the Caribbean.
Also, you could, but anyway, okay. So yeah. So let's get into that. I loved this show. I from the word jump, it was a nostalgia hit. It plays a lot smoother on rewatch straight through.
Mhm.
Not that I didn't have any issues with the episode chunks. I really didn't. I thought the stories they told were really good when they went back and gave you some flashback context for some of the character or focused on individual characters. I thought the references were perfect. I thought having Jodnad being a somebody who could use the Force, what was not anything affiliated, was wonderfully Star Wars.
Well, they
Uh,
did.
uh,
They did, of course, explain that he was a Padawan.
or he had somebody who had called it, who he could have learned
No,
from.
no,
I don't know if it was
they've made it
explicitly a
clear.
Padawan.
He was a Padawan. He was found
I
by a
don't know.
Jedi. He was taken in. He was training with the Jedi, and then the Jedi died during Order 66.
I don't know that I got all those details. I actually thought it was a little bit of. I thought it was he was found to be force sensitive, and then this guy was training him. I kind of thought it was post Order 66, and
No,
then they
because
was
he said his
caught.
master died uh, during the Jedi culling. So it was Order 66 that killed his master, and so which makes sense.
Agreed.
That means he would have been a boy. And so he would have just gotten a little bit of training, which is why he can do the very basics. You know, um,
Yeah. Real quick
now,
callback. That Captain Jolly says, I thought the Discovery Klingon joke in Lower Decks was funny because regardless, Discovery is considered canon. The joke was still made. I agree.
oh
I
yeah, you
agree.
know what?
I took it as a just a reference
Yeah,
that made Discovery more. Hey, look, there is a version of these things. I never took it the way this like entire wave of yahoos decided to go. See, they're fixing it, and I'm like, whoa! What did you see that I didn't? Because I
right.
rewatched that
It was a
moment in context
10-second
of the
joke,
episode. Yeah,
and it was funny, and then it was over.
yeah.
And the
Stanley
funny thing is,
says,
and in fact, the funny thing is that when the Klingons, when they were going through the whole waves of stuff, and they said, "Why aren't the Klingon ships changing?" And I can't remember her name, but the doctor said they probably are. The Klingons don't change their designs much, and
much.
and so that makes sense. That so one time it changed into the one time Klingons made different looking ships.
Yeah, people have to remember that was they said. Well, whatever. Yes, 100%.
But anyway, back to Skeleton Crew.
Skeleton Crew. Yeah, So what else? I loved SM-33. I thought that Nick Frost was a perfect pirate robot. Pirates. I don't know that I've seen smugglers be really fun. I don't know that I've ever seen pirates in the Star Wars universe, and
Yeah,
they
we
were
saw
amazing.
Pirates and Mandalorian season 3.
But they were amazing. I
Yeah.
thought it was great.
In
I thought it
fact,
was super fun.
the Pirates of Mandalorian season 3, I had the same problem with that I had with these pirates.
Which
Is
is
they're just Earth pirates. In fact, they're Earth stereotype pirates.
so
And
what?
they're just funky aliens that are "Arr, me hearties," and it's like, look, it's funny for a second. It's not funny for a series for me. Um,
Gorilla Censored Thought says, "Oh, he did come back. Now you don't have to replace him with Darren and have real fights." Ah, bro, I
I
was.
don't
Hey,
know
by the
this
way, I'm
Darren
not
you're
going.
talking about.
I'm not going anywhere. I
Yeah.
need to make that abundantly clear. I was some ups and downs in my own personal life
He
that I
just
had to
went
figure out.
somewhere for a while.
Yeah, I had to.
I'm not going
I was
anywhere. He just
traveling and stuff. No, but I mean, like, I'm not like leaving the show. We may pause because I have to fix some things, but otherwise, no, I'm not going. Salty stuck with me, as I told him when we were talking about all this. I said, "We're not breaking up, so you're good." So no, but yeah, it's hilarious. But go on. I'm sorry, you were saying, but pirates, how they're stereotypical Earth pirates.
yeah. So
Yeah, but we never had a problem with everybody speaking common in the galaxy, and it's English. We have a problem
No,
with
that
that.
I don't
Star
have a
Trek at
problem
least
with, because
explains it.
you got to do that for because they're not really speaking English. That's just it's a movie trope. It's just like the Russians in Hunt for Red October, right? You hear English
Yes.
in order to understand the frickin' movie. I'm okay
Yeah.
with that, and I certainly don't want to watch an entire Star Wars movie where everybody's going, "Oh, Chubilabi Chewbacca,"
Okay.
and having subtitles. That
So
would
Stanley says, and Skeleton Crew ending, and the Skeleton Crew's ending felt very rushed and didn't make much sense. Pause. The felt rushed part, I I don't feel it felt rushed. I feel like it ended hard. Meaning, I thought everything was going great. Slam. Now, normally you would. I feel like there should have been another scene, some sort of something, but they didn't give us. And I'm okay with that decision because back in the day, that's how things have ended. That's you don't see a lot of that kind of stuff. You would in ET and those things, you never got a coda. You just got pull up to the moon, or that's it, done, and it's gone.
right,
Or they would
and they
just
lived
fade to
happily
black.
ever after.
Right. And and once you took it in that context, I was like, okay, they were staying true to what they were this John Wattsian thing they were doing.
Right.
The ending, I thought, other than that, I don't know what part didn't make sense, Stan. Seriously. I'm not being argumentative. I just want to understand because I
I would
felt
say
like
this, and I'm not speaking for Stan,
no, go ahead.
but I think that and this is a problem whenever you do a kids adventure type thing, is that
I know where you're going with this. Go ahead.
so you have kids fighting pirates and winning, and they're winning by pure luck, right?
No, let's stop and look at this for
I
a
know the
minute.
force, right? That's what you're gonna
No,
say.
no, you can make allegorical comparisons to people who were resisting the Nazis. Sometimes
Except that,
children,
okay,
when
when
they can get in
wait,
places that
let me stop for just a second. I'm going to analyze one scene.
okay,
Elephant Boy is running from
Elephant Boy.
yeah, Elephant Boy is running after he used the turbo laser against the pirates.
Okay,
And the pirates are flying over him on a skiff with a high velocity blaster, shooting everything but him. It was so annoying to me that it wasn't, and it's not like, oh, it was close. It was like the shots were all following him like 10 feet behind him. It's like if he had just turned the cannon about 3 more degrees, Elephant Boy would have been dead.
okay. So I feel like the what you're just here's the thing. You have to remember one, the kids have a huge up on the pirates. They know their town. They know where they are. The Neil, by the way, you know, racist. Neil knew where the gun was from when they were on at Akron, and he'd always seen it as just a thing
Oh,
on the
no, I
roof,
get
and now he
that.
knew. So he, at the end of the day, it made a lot to me.
Honestly,
I understand where you're coming from, by
no,
the
the
way.
turbo laser I had no problem with. In fact,
Right.
I would have had the turbo laser do a whole lot more damage.
Agreed. That I agree with 100%.
All right. So,
I felt like I just felt like the
and
what I loved about it was the kids were the only ones who had just recently had to deal with and experience stuff not common to their world.
right.
So when all of a sudden they're dealing with they're dealing with all of this stuff, everyone's stunned the way the kids would have been at the beginning of the series. The kids are a little more savvy now that they've
Okay.
experienced
But
things.
but you bring up another problem. Like Wynn's dad is so freaking stupid. I mean, I have to say, him and I can't. What's the girl's name? The main girl that's like.
Hey, Thomas back. He says the kid turning the lightsaber pointing down was the best part of the
I did
series.
like that. That was funny.
That was
But
the cool thing because you always think
the,
about that. How do you know which side's up?
yeah, yeah. If you've never held a lightsaber before, you've just heard
Totally.
of them. Yeah. But anyway,
Go on.
but Wynn's dad and the girl's mom and the other girl's moms and basically everybody but Elephant Boy's parents, they
Neo.
they were functionally retarded.
Oh,
And I'm not saying that like
so badly.
no, because it's just like, remember I said the same thing about the First Order
I
when
got
I
you.
did my Last Jedi review.
No, it's
Uh,
fair. It's fair.
and so I'm not saying it to like use retarded as a
The
4-letter word.
pejorative.
I'm saying it as an accurate description
That's fair
because
enough.
they're
I
sitting
love
there
that. This
watching
is
pirates burn the city, and the kids are
as
like,
one does.
yeah, and the kids are like, oh, we need to get help from these people we met. And they're like, no, 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 we can't take the shield down while their city is on fire.
Right. The adults sheltered and the kids are worldly.
It,
That's
but
kind of
it's
what that's how I got it. And I'm
but it
okay.
was
Here's the
no,
thing. They
nobody is.
explained, listen, they explained that part of the story. And don't say nobody is in
But
that
dad
literally these
wasn't
people
that
are like us. They're
dad
like
wasn't that
us.
dumb at the beginning. And then, by the way,
What
dad
are you
turns
talking
out.
about? Dad was as yuck yuck as they get.
Well, that's the funny thing is that okay, so dad is functionally retarded, but then all of a sudden he's aces on a speeder bike.
They, do you see cars? Everyone driving around regularly?
Look,
There are
he
some,
when
but
did
like
we
they
ever
have
see
speeder bikes.
when did we ever see him on? We saw the kids on their little toy speeder bikes.
What do you think taught them?
Please. So
Come on.
do
You
you
give no credit to any. You're right. Next time we need to explicitly have
do
a
you
scene where dad goes, remember those times I showed you through such
hold
and
on?
such canyon?
It's one thing. Wait. So wait. You teach your kids how to ride a bicycle, right? So
Sure.
it's one thing if there's a crisis situation, your car's out of commission, and you hop on a bike and ride down the street. It's another thing if you're a professional BMX, even though you've never been seen on a bicycle in 20 years.
Have you ever watched a movie? It's called Suspension of Reality. Guess what? The kids can't fly through the air on bikes
Okay.
either, like in
First
ET.
of all,
But it's
it's
cool, really. The kids
first.
on the bikes
No,
with ET weren't able to outrun police and military
yeah.
either, but they do in the movie. Come on.
Know it all, you
We're getting-
ignorant slut. First, first of all, it's
I love this. Hold on.
suspension of
I'm okay with this,
disbelief.
Stan. I'm okay with this, Stan. And Dad's having a blast by the end of it. Yes,
It
his
is
dad learns to be metal like his
it
kid.
is suspension of disbelief, not suspension of reality. All right, so let's get our and you're the one that works in the industry, you
I
moron.
know.
All right,
That's why I called it suspension of reality. I did not call it
yes,
disbelief.
because you don't live in reality.
It's right. You have to
And okay,
suspend your idea of what real is because this is in a galaxy far, far away. They
and
all
here, okay, so now you want to hear my biggest gripe with with the whole show?
go for it.
Okay, my biggest gripe, and I'm absolutely serious about this,
Okay.
is of the 4 kids, Wynn is the only one that didn't get a true hero moment.
What are you talking about? I thought he did.
He got to hold the lightsaber. He didn't
No, he
do
got to he chose to do it was just the distraction type moment to sort of inspire that things were going to happen. But
but
I
it
get you.
wasn't
He
it's
did
not at
cave
the
in.
level of the other kids. That's what I'm saying. Like all the other kids had these moments where they
Ah,
literally saved the day and through their direct actions, like so you had Elephant Boy shooting the pirate ship, which was
Neil. His name is Neil. Why do you
Elephant
hate
Boy.
him? Why are you racist?
Because I'm sorry, humans first, buddy. I'll own that one.
Stanley, yeah, that was pure kid fantasy stuff. Yes, it was,
But
and I
no,
was here for it. Hold
but
on a
the
second.
thing is,
By the way, Star Wars has always been pure kid fantasy stuff.
right? It's just that the kids have been 20 years old up to this point, except for Anakin
Well,
in the
Luke wasn't. Luke was
he
only
was
barely
19.
19. Yeah, barely 19.
Come on, I said 20. Can you not take? I mean, I'm rounding, okay? It's not that big a deal.
Oh, sure, for you it's not. Suddenly, when it's you, no big deal.
Okay, fine. 19 as opposed to 12, right?
Sure. Okay,
And
that's fair.
the problem is that you don't need to kidify Star Wars. Now they've tried to do it several times. They tried to do it with the holiday special. They tried to do it with droids. They tried to do it with the Ewok movies, and all of those failed.
So here's okay. So here you're right. Why did this? Okay, hold on. First off, this
Now I
from
will say this is
a
objectively better. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying this is
agreed.
crap.
No, agreed.
Okay.
Agreed.
And in fact, let me say this. This is kind of the irony of it. Even though I stand by what I've said over and over and over, this is a Lucasfilm production, not a Disney production, right? All the Star Wars stuff is produced by Lucasfilm, not by Disney. And
Sure.
so all these people that say Star Wars, Disney, no, it's still Lucasfilm. It's just Lucasfilm under the head of Kathleen Kennedy instead of George Lucas. Now, that being said, this was pure Disney. I mean, this was Escape from Witch Mountain. This was Herbie the
Ooh, the
Love
original,
Bug.
the original, the
Yeah,
original.
this was Herbie the Love Bug. This is classic Disney storytelling.
I
But
kinda-
I'm
but I love it. Itched
right.
and
But
scratched
I'm not
something
saying
I didn't
Disney
realize I
interfered.
wanted.
I'm not saying Disney interfered. I'm just saying whoever, and I'm sorry, I don't know all the behind the scenes people. Whoever wrote and produced this show
Sure.
understood that kind of storytelling, and
It
so
was
it's
John Watts.
okay.
John
Well,
Watts, the Daniels who do Stranger
what else? What
Things.
else has John Watts
Yeah,
done?
Bryce Dallas Howard. John Watts. He did the Spider-Man movies. He did the recent ones. The recent ones.
Mhm.
He's known for being that level of that type of
Well, except the Spider-Man movies don't feel like they're kid stories. You know what I mean? Like, yes, Tom Holland is the youngest Spider-Man we've had, but
He just did the Wolves movie. He
Mhm.
did Fantastic Four, the first one of those other ones, the
I thought Tim
2025 one,
Story
rather.
did both of those.
No, I'm sorry, you're right. Forgive me. He's doing that one now. Sorry. What else? He's got a bunch of stuff in his list in his IMDb. Trying to look through it right this second. John Watts, producer, director, writer.
Because
He's
I'm
known
just
as being that kind of family friendly type person.
right, and that's where this absolutely knocked it out of the park. If you're trying to
Right.
make sci-fi Escape from Witch Mountain, if you're trying to make live action Treasure Planet, if that's what you're going for, aces, 100%, 5 out of 5, right? But
Sure.
but the problem is that I now and even though yes, I am a Trekkie first, I have been a Star Wars fan since 1977.
Right
Okay,
on.
so I am a hardcore. Now, do I read all the books? No, because I'm dyslexic, and so I don't really read much. But in fact, I've actually been listening to books on Audible. It's Audible. If you want to sponsor us, please. But if you haven't, let me. I'm gonna go to sidebar for just a second,
Sure.
guys. If you haven't read it, listen to it, whatever. Get your hands on From a Certain Point of View. They are fun and hilarious and sometimes serious.
Sure.
And it's a collection. Like I think the Return of the Jedi one, which is one I'm listening to now. Well, I'm not listening to it during the fast, but I'll continue after the fast. It's like 40 short stories, and each short story is whatever happened in the movies from the point of view of one character, but usually it's not one of the main characters. They
Right.
actually,
Somebody, yeah, you tell me some of these.
yeah, they did for the first Star Wars, they did an entire story based on the stormtrooper that took down Leia.
The one with the stun?
Yes, and it was actually really good. And he almost had a Finn moment throughout that because he was having doubts about being part of the Empire, and he didn't
Right on,
want
man.
to shoot Leia. And in fact, when
Amazing.
she went thud down on the floor, he was worried that he killed her. And so,
just following orders.
yeah. Now, the funny thing is, it's also like it was talking about the guy that said, "There's one, blast her," right, or get her, right, or whatever they
Sure.
said,
Yeah.
and Leia shot that guy. So he actually, before that happens, was talking about that's his commanding officer, and his commanding officer is shot dead, and so now he gets a field promotion. You know,
Dang.
but he wants nothing to do with all this stuff, so he requests a transfer and ends up on Tatooine looking for the droids.
Really?
Yes. And
That's
then, of
true.
course, the Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru thing happens and he becomes completely disillusioned. So it's actually a really interesting story. Now, on the funny side, they did an entire story from the perspective of the Sarlacc from Return of the Jedi.
Oh my God, that was hilarious. You told me about that one. That was
Yes.
stupid
The
funny.
Sarlacc was a surfer dude from another planet. Well, actually, the Sarlaccs float around in space, and then they find a planet to land on, burrow in the ground, and live. And they're
Maybe.
basically like Venus flytraps, right? Except they're sentient. And
Oh, tell the best part.
well,
This one. Go
but
ahead.
when the first words in the story is "Stop throwing people in my mouth," because this particular Sarlacc is a
It's
vegetarian.
vegetarian. When you told
Yeah.
me that, I was like, "Shut your
Yeah,
face!
and he's not a
Stop it!"
vegetarian because Sarlaccs don't eat meat. No, he actually says that most Sarlaccs do eat meat. He just doesn't think it's right.
So he does it for a moral reason.
Yeah. And so, in fact, when Boba Fett escaped, and because this is written pretty recently, so it takes into
Sure.
account some of the recent stuff from Disney Plus. So when Boba Fett actually escapes from the Sarlacc is relieved because he doesn't want to kill anybody, but they digest slowly. And
And tell him how.
he actually describes how his digestive system keeps the victims alive for 1,000 years. So when C-3PO was saying you'll be slowly digested over 1,000 years, he was being literal.
It's hilarious, by the way. That's hilarious.
Yeah. So when Boba
Oh
Fett
my
escaped,
God,
he
those
was,
things are terrifying. By the way,
oh
Stanley,
yeah,
like
yeah,
those trapdoor
trapdoor spiders,
spiders.
no.
I have arachnophobia hardcore, and I saw one of those without intending to, and I just closed my laptop and I told my family, I said, I just need to go spend quiet time with something warm and cuddly because I just saw the most terrifying thing ever, and I don't know if I'll ever get to sleep again.
Oh,
It was
just don't crawl under
bad.
your house then.
I hate you so much.
Have you ever
Oh,
crawled
trust me,
under?
I've heard all the spider statistics. I know that at any given time we are no further than 20 feet away from one
Yeah,
at any
and
given point.
usually a venomous one. Uh,
It's rough.
and,
Moving
and
on.
but like when I was in California, a really big in California is black widows. Black widows are everywhere in California, but black widows like to live in shaded areas.
See, I think you just found the reason for the fires. Because if I
Yeah,
encountered a black widow, I would
got
be burn it all down.
yes,
Burn
yes. So
everything down,
somebody like
start from
you moved to
scratch.
California and
This
saw a
is
black widow.
spider. It's over. It's over.
No, here's the interesting thing about black widows because I was a cable guy for a while, and which means I had to routinely crawl under houses in order to run cable lines, right?
Bro.
And I mean, we're talking about extremely tight spaces. Like sometimes you have a
Ugh.
beam on your back and your gut is rubbing against the ground and you're squeezing through. And it's like, feels like the movie Descent. It's just really, really claustrophobic. But we had these like 3-foot long drill bits to drill through walls and stuff like that, right?
Right.
So whenever you went under a house, the first thing you did was you waved your drill bit in front of you. Because if you heard a crackling.
Oh, stop.
No,
Please.
no,
Oh,
no, no,
God.
no, hear me out. If you heard a crackling sound,
Oh, I hate you.
okay, that is the sound of a black widow web snapping because they're unlike regular spider webs, they're very rigid. And so they actually snap when you break them. So if you hear snapping, then you immediately leave and you say, sorry, I can't go under there. You have black widows. And the problem is, all you have to do is forget to do it once and have it be and I actually had this happen when I was a new guy.
It's so bad.
I'm
It's
like
so
30
bad.
feet in and I didn't bring my drill bit or anything, but my hard hat hit a spider web and I heard the crackle. I was like,
I'm
oh,
out. I'm out. It's
Yeah,
like, I'm
but see,
out.
I was so scared, you know, and so I'm just like very slowly crawling back because I couldn't turn around. There wasn't enough room, so I'm just actually very slowly crawling backwards without seeing anything, and until hopefully I get to the exit. You know,
It's horrible. That's
that's my Black
horrible.
Widow story. Um,
Yeah, it's terrifying.
so I'm going to send you some Black Widow.
No, don't you don't. I'm killing you. Do not do that.
Well, I know what I'm going to do.
You're a horrible
I'm going to
person.
send you a box, and when you
Don't
open
do it,
when you open
dude.
the box,
No, I'm
a
not gonna trust anything you
spring is
send me
going to
now.
shoot plastic spiders at you.
You realize I'm never gonna trust you now. Like anything you send me, I'm just like, nope, not opening it. Sorry, or give it to my
Yeah,
kid.
you have your
Here, honey.
wife open
Here,
it.
baby, no, you open it for me, please. They're like, why? And she'll go, oh yeah, because they're not scared. They take care of spiders. I handle everything else. I'll handle hornets. I'll handle roaches. I'll handle water, but anything else, I handle spiders, snakes rather. I'll handle. They handle the spiders. They
How about
call it saving
raccoons?
my life. No, I can handle a raccoon.
Okay.
Yeah, no, they literally tell me they're like, we just saved your life, and I'm like, thanks. Don't need to know anymore. You're good. You're good. I appreciate
So
it.
Skeleton Crew, back to Skeleton Crew.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I
So
like again. I liked it.
as a Disney show, it was the best. As a Star Wars show, it was, in my opinion, kind of mediocre. And the only reason I say that is pirates were silly. The finale didn't feel real to me because the kids were just doing a little too well against the pirates. And I really hated the fact that when ignites the lightsaber at the end, holding it the right way, but he does nothing with it. What I would have done is show that Win, because Win's been obsessed with the Jedi from the first moment of the series, right?
Right, of course.
And so I would have had what's the name of the bad guy again? You know his name.
Oh, who, Jod?
Jude Law's character.
Yeah, Jod, Ned, something or other. Yeah,
Yeah,
Jod.
Jod. So
Jod. Jod is his name.
yeah,
Jod.
so Jod, he ignites the saber, and they have that little hero stand like they did.
Yeah.
And instead of just dropping his gun, he takes a shot, and Win blocks it.
So I was half expecting that
Yeah,
because with everything else that you guys are arguing about in terms of how the kids were doing more, I was like, dude's gonna shoot and Wynn's gonna do it, and we're gonna find out he's force sensitive.
right.
Like I would love to. I honestly I was
And that
waiting. I
would
was
have
like,
been great
tell
because then
me
you
he's
have
force sensitive,
right.
please.
So
That
then
would
for
be
the
such a
future,
win.
yeah, for the future, you have Win as a potential Jedi now, and so
Right.
I would
In
have,
that post
yeah,
world, in that.
and he's got a
So the other.
lightsaber.
So speculate real quick. What does that mean for the Republic? They've now found a literal mint planet
Yeah,
that has the ability to increase
it's going to
the actual
devalue the credit.
financial.
It's going to devalue the currency
See,
throughout
but
the.
they were already trying to build up they had to build up. I imagine this would give value, wouldn't it?
Well, it depends on if, and we don't know because the economics, and I'm sure someone's read a book and they're going to say, well, actually, the way that it works is they have hyper gold, and
Right.
or whatever. 'Cause everything
Hyper
in Star
gold. Let's
Wars is
go.
hyper. They use hyper
That's
matter to go
awesome.
to hyperspace.
Yeah, totally. No, for real.
And so, but
I love it.
but anyway, so
Real quick,
if
did you catch the one joke
but
when Jod turned on that the old uh, Commerce Guild robot and it goes, "Did we win?" and then broke. It was from the episode one back in the day. From the
yeah,
I thought that was so funny. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
all right. So, and did you notice that the supervisor looked a lot like a giant R2 unit? He looked like an
Yes, it
R2
did.
unit that was 75 feet tall, except we could only see the top of him.
Stanley asked, "And now the population is under control of the New Republic." I would assume. I would
Well,
assume so
now
because
keep
technically
in
that
mind,
planet is was part of the
right?
original Republic. Just
And
because it's been lost, I
Eckert's
would assume they'd
ladder,
take them over.
yeah, Eckert's ladder, who I have a lot of respect for as far as Star Wars lore, he pointed out that you see I know there's a technical term for it, but I always have called it the blockade runner because that's what they
Sure,
called it in
sure.
the first Star Wars movie.
Yeah,
But the little cruiser,
right.
and you see the cruiser break through the clouds after the X-wings and Y-wings, and so what Eckert's ladder pointed out is that is a diplomatic ship, which means they're going to establish relations with At-Aten now.
So they probably sent someone who
There's
said, "Hey,
and in fact,
we'd love for you guys to rejoin." And what's her face is
it could
Fern's
be
mother
Leia
would be
on the ship
the
for all we know.
Fern's mother could be the highest ranking person
Yeah, she could be
human
the
on the
governor of the
planet now.
planet or whatever.
Yeah, because she was the assistant overseer, whatever person,
Right.
and the actual one was a robot, was a droid.
Yeah. And so
I did love the fact the droid was wise and prepared. I did love that. That he
I
was
actually
like,
like the fact that the droid
which
was
one is a lie? Are you our emissary or are you a Jedi?
yeah.
One of them has to be a lie. I love the fact he said the last thing they heard from the Republic was the
All
Jedi
the
were
Jedi
traitors.
were
And
enemies.
I
Yeah.
was like, oh, so it has been somehow in contact before.
It's been a good 40 years since they've had any outside contact.
Right.
And even then, it's only when the Republic sends emissaries. It's just that in the old Republic before the Empire, they knew about the emissaries and would
Right.
send them. But if the emissaries were commonly Jedi, then they're all dead.
Yeah, absolutely, which makes tons of sense.
Yeah. So, but the anyway, so I like the fact that the robot was not malevolent. That was nice because that would have been
Right.
too. I mean, it's just such a trope that I was at Landrew.
Right.
It's just another society
Yes.
being controlled by an evil machine.
Stanley says, and I guess pirates just have to pirate, and the answer to that would be yes. They
Yeah,
do.
but they don't have to say "R." That's.
So what?
I mean, hey,
What else would they do?
Lando calls Han a pirate.
He said it like an insult. You old pirate. I don't know if he actually like. He said it like
How
an
you
insulting
doing,
thing,
you old
not.
pirate?
Yeah, he didn't say it like it's like genuinely a thing. They probably could have packed enough to the credits into their ship to last them a lifetime. Oh, for
Okay.
real?
Oh yeah, back to the credits thing. So
Absolutely.
So what I don't know, and if somebody knows, you can fill me in. I don't know the actual economics of the galaxy far, far away. But if the value of the credit is based on the metal it's minted from, then yes, now the Republic has a huge cache of usable currency. Especially since pre-Empire Republic credits are worth a premium.
Sure.
Um,
Probably because they were made of whatever
yeah, they're
it's
like
more, it's different to whatever else. Yeah.
right.
That would
So
be like us finding an old
yeah,
gold bullion coin or whatever. It's
well,
very
if
valuable.
you literally found a mint that had 800 tons of gold and was printing gold coins,
Sure.
real gold coins, not just
Stanley was, by the way, the second part of what he said was they could have taken enough credit in their ship to last them a lifetime instead of just attacking the planet where nobody was even fighting back.
right.
I do agree with him then.
Pirates are
Yes,
stupid.
pirates. No, pirates are going to pirate in that they've always think about this. Forget for a second the cliche stuff. Own the fact that this is who they are.
Right.
Everywhere they go, they have to fight to take something. They're
But in
not
this
used to
case,
walking into a place where nobody's a problem.
but
They're
they
used to
knew
going
full,
in, hitting
yeah,
heavy. Go
but they
ahead.
knew full well these people were imbeciles and couldn't fight back.
Fine, you're so mean.
I'm just
Imbecile.
saying.
They were naive.
The pirate ship shows up, starts blasting the city, and nobody fights back because nobody's got weapons, right? The only weapons in the
Yeah,
entire
are the robots who?
the only weapons in the like if the droids were online, they would have put up a fight.
So here's the funny thing. Seems it would have made more sense to take the money and run. Yeah, if you look historically, pirates are not smart. They always want more than they can have. They always want it all. And
Right.
this is an entire like they wanted to come in.
They
Jod
wanted to
wanted
run
them
the
to
planet,
come
basically.
right and just start shipping out the gold and whatever else. He probably knowing him, he would have been like, take the frigate, go, bring another one, and just keep them going. And we're gonna fill up a new world
Right. You
full
think
of all
about this.
this.
If you fill the frigate with that gold, you could turn around and buy a Star Destroyer. Then you bring the Star Destroyer and load it with gold, and you can buy 5 Star Destroyers. And so
Agreed. Agreed.
yeah, you could build an entire fleet, and a fleet that could take over the Republic with what they had there.
Especially,
Especially
especially if we know those folks at the casino planet are over here selling weapons and
well, but
ships.
we also know for a fact that the entire Republic is only 5 planets.
No, the capital, like the biggest species, are only 5
Except that
planets.
the capital is Coruscant, and they didn't blow up Coruscant. In fact, they even make mentions of Coruscant in this show.
Probably because because you need Coruscant to legitimize your control. You
Right.
can't just change the flag of the capital of the empire slash
Right.
republic or whatever you want to call it. So they probably were like, we're going to kill all. We're going to make a big example, destroy these planets. By the way, are we talking about the Force Awakens again, or Ryan Johnson's?
Yeah.
I feel like we suddenly jumped into that different era fast.
Yeah. But you see, but the problem is like when Starkiller blew up those 5 planes, it would be like, let's say that Russia um, launched 5 nukes into the United States, and they took out Oregon, Utah, Massachusetts, Vermont, and Kentucky. Right? Just
See,
picking,
I feel like the equivalent would have
and then all
been
of a
they
sudden
took
they
out.
say, "Well, I guess we're done."
No, the equivalent would have been they took out New York, Atlanta, Los Angeles, and left Washington D.C. alone to be
But they
like,
only
all
no,
right,
they only took one area. So let's say they completely knocked the tri-state area off the map.
okay,
Right. So the tri-state area is gone. Everybody's dead. All the cities are leveled. And then the United States is just like, well, I guess they're in charge now, because that's what happened. Because in the
I
Force
hear what you're saying.
Awakens,
I hear what
they
you're saying. I'm
blew up
sorry, I was trying
5.
to get that math from my head.
Yeah, in the Force Awakens, they blew up 5 planets, and in the Last Jedi, then the First Order, which, by the way, the Last Jedi takes place immediately after the Force Awakens, if you pay attention.
Yeah, of
And
course.
and the Last Jedi, the First Order is in complete and total control of the galaxy.
I don't know about complete and total control because
Well,
they hadn't
well,
had
well,
time to
the Republic.
establish their base. They were definitely everybody was like, please keep dealing with whatever you're dealing with, because they were trying to do what the Empire had never done, which is immediately crush any resistance now out the gate.
Right. Which, by the
They
way, I
wanted to try to
hated the
take them all
fact
out.
that they were called the Resistance in the series, because, you know, that would be like calling the United States Army the Resistance. No, resistance is usually like a small civilian uprising after the enemy has taken control.
Yeah, it would
But
almost
they
be.
were the resistance before there was even a war.
Yeah, I would think they would be more like insurgents than anything else.
Well, I would just say they were like a special forces ops team or something, and that they took out the rest of the military was on those. Like, if they wanted to say those 5 planets was where the entire military was, okay, now I can buy it, because they
Well, 'cause remember
basically.
that could be where they're. Yeah, that could have been where the
Well,
X-wing
except the problem is, and going back
space
to.
cops.
Well, we've seen that there are ships, the shipyards and stuff on Coruscant, so that's
Sure.
yeah. But anyway, but back to the Skeleton Crew. So good show for kids. I think mediocre for adults. And the problem is that Star Wars, as of late, has not been kid friendly, and so I think that's part of the reason that this show ultimately failed as far as ratings are concerned. Is that people looked at that and they're like, wait a minute, so they're making a kids show now?
Dinner Bell says first order were disappointment. It was genuinely interested. I was genuinely interested with those flashbacks in The Force Awakens. I
Yeah,
agree. I
yeah.
agree.
The Force Awakens was not bad, but the Last Jedi ruined it.
100%.
Yeah.
100. If you would have given me a solid second episode that built on what the first one did and then took me to where the third one popped in, it would have flowed smoother. Ryan Johnson's movie damages that trilogy,
Well, and
not for
that's
the
why
reasons
Star
everybody
Wars.
else thinks and for the reasons you gave and listed, though
Yeah.
all those are true. It does it because it does not connect to either of the other two at all. So you have 2 other movies on the outside that are like, uh,
Well, I guess
we
Snoke said.
yeah,
So how
like
can
seriously. Okay, the fact is you have to have dude come out with a line that says, hey, by the way, we're somehow the Emperor's back. And it's all
and of course,
curious. It's like, what the hell?
and of course, the entire explanation is just a recycled line. The dark side of the Force is a pathway to many things that people may find. What was the word? Oh gosh, I'm trying to. What was the word? Oh man, now I'm having a brain cramp. You remember? You know the line I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
What's the word?
What are you talking about?
The
Which
dark
one?
side of the
Sorry.
Force is a pathway to many things that
Many that are unnatural.
unnatural. Thank you.
Yes.
Unnatural.
There it is.
And I will say that Ian McDermott, oh man, he was creepy as the Emperor in The Rise of Skywalker. I mean, that Emperor was disturbing. Unfortunately, he was going up against Ray, who had the power
That
of.
Emperor was kind of disturbing because he was sort of like weirdly,
He was weirdly
uh,
distorted and only partially.
like veiny and eyes milky, and
Well,
you're
no,
like, what is
his
going on
hands
here?
weren't even complete.
Yeah.
He was really, really creepy. But unfortunately, it
Stanley
was.
says, that's why I say if you've done Mandalorian, then Skeleton Crew for the kids, then Andor for the serious fans, I hate you. The Star Wars streaming experiment might have worked out better.
I would agree, except that I do think that Andor needs a tweak to make the Empire
Yeah, whatever.
appear more evil.
My
Because
issue is my. Go ahead. Go ahead. Finish your thought.
because here's the thing: is that if you look at Skeleton Crew, and this is, I'll say, probably my biggest positive thing I'll say about Skeleton Crew is the Republic was good, pirates bad. It wasn't. There was no gray area here. It's like the X-wings show up and they are the heroes.
And
Period.
I love that. I have a feeling I could totally see Win becoming a pilot someday, becoming an X-wing pilot someday. So the people who make the creator of the show said there's been discussions about a second season, and he said we didn't go into it not thinking about what would come next. He's like, and if it takes us 8 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years to come up with a second season, we are going to account for the kids aging. We're not going to try to pretend like other things that
Stranger
kids
Things.
are like it's 6 months later, and you're like, no, no, no. If it takes us 2 years, then that's how long his time has passed. Because you got to have the kids be older, and now you use that to leverage your story. And I think that makes some sense.
No, absolutely. And so yeah, going back to a comparison of the way Lucasfilm is going as far as the way that Marvel Studios is going. Um, I've said many, many times that I was extremely thankful when Kevin Feige said, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, let's back off on everything and retool." That was the smartest thing I've ever heard him say. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And even though it made some things cost more money, he's like, who in the long
Well,
run,
they
if we damage
completely.
our goodwill,
Yeah.
nothing will be successful.
Daredevil was 8 episodes in and they canned it and restarted.
Which
Right?
I'm like, good, and apparently reshot like most of it. And I'm
Oh,
like, good. No,
yeah.
there's some pieces, probably flashback type stuff or whatever, that
But
they kept. But yeah,
but
overall, it's they got him out of the yellow outfit. They made sure because he was going to be yellow and red.
right.
The outfit you saw in She-Hulk was going to be his MCU
Right, but then all
colors.
the and in fact, the whole thing about him being retired, I think that they're going to try to say that She-Hulk is in another universe.
You
Uh,
think?
I do. I think they're going to try to say that Daredevil is a variant. That because I'm sorry, would this Matt Murdock do the Walk of Shame?
No, this Matt Murdock is busy catching things that come flying out in windows for everybody.
Right.
Like he's done that move a half dozen times now.
Right. But I'm just, so
Stanley.
I think that they're going to say, and plus with the way that She-Hulk ended, you could easily just say that that's not canon. It was just a silly fun thing on the side because of the whole Kevin robot controlling everything and all that.
Agreed. Well, and there was a friend of mine who was talking about. I mean, I wish they should have just done with the Avengers and had like Sam and She Hulk and blah. And I said, whoa, 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 time out. What in the world is She Hulk going to do on the Avengers? And he's like, well, she's the She Hulk. I'm like, no, no, no. Is she going to sit here and tell Doctor Doom how she understands what it's like more than he does?
And
Like, what is she
oh, hold
actually
on,
going to
hold on,
do?
you got a $1 donation. Thank you. The first order should have been a terrorist group like the rebel scum were during the peaceful empire.
Fair enough. I dig that.
So you think the rebels were scum?
No, you're an idiot. I hate you. I
I
hate you
didn't
so
say it.
much.
Watch
No,
Rings
but
of
the thing is,
Power
this is
said.
it's not. What I'm saying is, you're always doing that nonsense. You're
By the
like,
way, a certain person whose name I shall not mention, Potts, said that. Oh, you like that I can walk around now?
actually, kind of. What is that? How are you doing that? I'm blown away right now because I'm like, I don't have that level of control. Like, what is he doing? It's amazing. Whatever. Now, when you talk, you got to shake it.
So, if we talk about
Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! That's hilarious. It reminds me of your old poop emoji. You used
yeah,
to tweet around.
well, but we
I'm
need
sorry.
something to manipulate that mouth. That's what we really need.
Totally.
Um, but if we talk about the idea that
By the way, Stan, you're absolutely correct. That was a funny visual gag that was reminiscent, and in a room full of all women writers, that's exactly why it happened. And that's not a critique or a criticism. I'm just saying that's exactly you're you on the nose, brother. You got it
yeah,
exactly right.
and I will tell you, I actually really like the fact that she. I'm sorry, I'm not shaking. I actually really like the fact that she punched her way out of the Disney Plus menu. Because when that
Okay,
menu
it was very comic booky, very
when that
comic
menu
booky.
popped up, I was reaching for the remote to figure out what went wrong.
Oh my god, that's hilarious. That's awesome.
And so it worked.
Creep says Scar on She-Hulk is what annoyed me the most from the show. Yeah, bro. To me, having a button that does that, no, 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 no. And I refuse to believe that was real or that was a thing. I hate you so much, bro. You're having far too much fun with this now. All right. So what else have we not talked about? What else? A
Oh my
bunch of stuff, obviously.
god. Dune. We have not talked about Dune
Uh,
at all.
bro, the greatest version of the Acolyte they could have ever given us.
Yeah,
I'm telling you,
it was truly the Acolyte.
it was so good.
However, I was a little perturbed about the fact that the whole thing was just set up for a cliffhanger.
No, I see. I didn't feel that way because if you look at like Game of Thrones, how seasons ended, I felt like it you got a lot of wrap to a piece, and then you were now opening the gateway to the next part. Because you because in the very last episode you introduce I hate you so much. It's so hard to pay attention to you, but they introduce so much in terms of the lore of which I thought was great, and you find out that this dude is actually her kid grown up, which again I thought was very interesting. You get to see the rise of that one because that one girl's got the woman who what's her face cut her throat and possessing her now her spirit or whatever. I thought it was
Well, don't get me wrong.
I like they set a bunch of things up. I think they set a bunch of
and
things
I
up really
liked
well.
all the elements they set up. I just, it's kind of like how I felt about. I don't know if you watched it or not, but Squid Game season 2.
Not yet. I need to. I had my daughter and I are supposed to watch it together because we watched the first season together.
Let me
And I heard similar things. Go on.
let me warn you. Squid Game season 2 is actually half a season.
That's
It
what I've
it
heard.
literally ends after like the third game, and so like most of the people are still alive. The
Like the thing that
However,
made Squid Game one so good is not actually what you get in this one.
no, well, but the funny thing is, no, they definitely went in a different direction, and I didn't want to give you spoilers if you care. So, uh,
I know some that I've caught.
do you want me to talk spoilers or not talk
Yeah, I'm
spoilers?
down. I'm down. Do you want to
Okay,
talk spoilers? Do I need to? Does anybody else need to be forewarned?
yeah, spoiler
There you
warning
go.
for Squid Game season 2.
Copy.
Um,
Go ahead.
so I love this because I did not see it coming.
Okay.
I can never remember the name of the main character, but we'll just say the guy from the Acolyte.
Contestant 420 something. Go
For
with his go with his number.
I thought it was 446.
There you go. Go with that.
Wait, so
Whatever.
446. He does end up back in the games. I'm not going to get into how. However, one thing they did do is they spent a lot more time on character in this. So the games don't even start till
So
like,
I do know one piece of spoileriness, which is apparently we thought he got on the plane, he didn't.
no, yeah, he never got on the plane.
Which
But
that's so they made us
show that at the
think that
very
he
beginning
did.
of episode 1. That's barely a spoiler.
Gihan, by the way, his name is Gihan.
Okay, so Dion, when he gets back into the games, but now he has an ulterior motive. He wants to end the games.
Copy. Okay.
Okay.
I mean that jibes.
That's his goal. Now, you may remember that in season 1, contestant number 1 was the old man that set the whole thing up.
Right.
Okay.
Right. I do remember that.
So, guess who contestant number 1 is this time?
Is it his son?
It's the Black Mask.
Really?
Yes.
Do we know this?
Yes, it's shown, right away. So
So not like they started with the old man where you find out
face.
afterwards.
So you saw his face in season 1. So
Did Gihan also know that was him?
no, he's never
Got it.
seen him.
Okay.
So
Okay.
he thinks he's just another contestant.
Got it.
And by the way, the man is a complete badass. All right.
Really?
So, oh yeah. I mean, like he's like Jackie Chan ninja extreme, you know. So the but
The Acolyte was canceled. That's how he got back.
yeah.
Thomas, points, sir. Points all day, sir. Good job.
So Dihan starts telling because he and number one become very close in the first game or so. And by the way, the first game is exactly the same. It's the red light, green light.
Okay, yeah, and we saw, and this one, because in the trailers, he actually tries to help them,
Right. He
and
stops
obviously
it.
it
So
goes.
everybody, if you lose, you die. Don't, PK, and he's trying to warn them. And everybody's like, who is this idiot? And then the gunfire starts, so and it's every bit as brutal as season one was. But although less people die because he warns them, and as after the first round of gunfire, and this is actually pretty clever because any kind of movement the doll will detect and shoot you.
Yeah, yeah.
So hold your arm up like you were Dracula with a cape. No, in front of you. No, one arm. There you go. He holds his arm up like that. Now bring your arm up a little higher. And just like that, he starts yelling instructions to everybody.
Because his mouth is covered.
Yes.
Oh, that's super smart, actually.
Yes.
That's actually super clever, which
Yeah.
means he's kind of had time to think through this stuff, hasn't he?
Right. And so he tells everybody, like, get in a line so it can't detect you.
Stanley says Acolyte guy could have just paid them all from his original prize money.
He actually could have, which is kind of funny because they did change the rules of the game slightly, which is that how they voted after the first game to see if they want to continue.
Yes.
Well, in this version of the games, they vote after every game.
Really?
Yes. And everybody gets an X or an O on their jumpsuit based on how they voted. And so everybody knows how everybody voted.
So it's very segregated that way too.
It
Like
causes
it's purposely designed
problems.
Jeez.
So
and they're all still in that big bunk room where it's just stacked
the
bunk
bunk room is
okay.
exactly the same as you remember.
Okay.
And most of the visuals, some of them are updated. They look a little better. Like I'll say, like the hallway where all the quarters are for the PlayStation buttons looks a little better.
PlayStation buttons.
Yeah, stuff like that. They did minor improvements.
That's awesome. Well, yeah, because now they're like, shoot, we got money now.
Right.
Korea's like the world's watching this one.
Yeah. So they did minor improvements, but nothing to where as a casual viewer you would just think it was the same place.
You have to remember that's the thing to remember about this show. It was originally solely created as a Korean show that Netflix then acquired and put on, and then became this smash
Everybody
hit.
loved it.
So when they went into season 2, the Korea's like, Korea, the country, is like, don't screw this up. Y'all don't screw this up.
And I will say
we'll give you money. We'll do anything to make this better. The world is watching us. Don't screw this up.
They did not screw it up, but I didn't like that it's only half a season.
So part of my problem is that they basically, in essence, the first show,
Hollows Part 1 and
I
Part
feel like
2.
the first show didn't know if it was going to get renewed, so it gave you a nice, complete story.
Right.
This one's like, oh, we're definitely getting a season 3.
Oh, season 3 is actually coming out this year.
They filmed that. I did find out. They filmed it back to back with season 2.
Right, and so
I'm like,
it's coming out. I think
amazing.
in like June or July.
Have you seen the teaser poster?
No.
It's over the shoulder of the tall girl statue facing a boy statue.
Ooh.
So I don't know what that means. If that's supposed to be a new kind of game where there's two ends of it that are doing something. So I'm like, oh, okay, that'll be interesting to see what they come up with.
All the games are different this time, so they are
really
new. Yes,
that's even better.
And
that's kind of cool.
Yeah. And so I'm gonna
just as lethal though. Just as lethal.
Oh yeah. But and the funny thing is because like after the red light green light, everybody's like, oh, so Dihan knows how the games work, and so he's going to be our leader. And they're like, okay, what game is next? And the next game was supposed to be the one where you have the sugar things that you got to cut the shape out of.
Yeah.
And so he explains to them how there were 4 shapes. The simpler the shape, the easier it is to cut out. So you don't want to choose the umbrella. And so then we cut to a shot of the next day, and we see the 4 doors, right? The
Yeah.
triangle,
Yeah.
circle, star, and umbrella, right?
Right.
And everybody, the entire group, is lined up at triangle, right? And Dihan is first in line. And so the door opens up, and the PlayStation button gives him the little dish with it. And he opens up the dish, and it's like hundreds of microscopic triangles.
Bro.
And he-
That's so diabolical. Well, because how did he not imagine that they weren't going to because they're like, oh,
because
because
they knew he
they
had been in the
didn't, they
game.
invited him back.
Right.
Bro, you got to realize they're going to change it up now.
They actually didn't invite him back.
Really? I thought doesn't he get a card? I saw a trailer thing that he gets a card under his door.
He gets the card off of a body.
Really?
Oh, he infiltrates. But the thing is that number
That's so
one,
rough. That's
number
so
one
rough.
knows he infiltrates because once he gets the card, he calls the number, and he arranges a meeting, and so then he says, I want to play again, and the guy's like, are you serious?
Like, is he addicted to playing? Is it
No,
how did he try to pass it off?
He has a plan. He wants to end the game.
But how does he try to pass it off that he wants to play again? Why does he explain?
He just, he says he can't find any purpose in life, blah, blah, blah.
Okay, so he does come up with something.
Yes.
That's what I was having trouble dealing with. I was trying to figure out if somebody on the inside wanted him to get back in.
Right.
If that was why that was happening.
So his plan all revolved around Hell Knight. Do you remember Hell Knight?
Yes.
Okay. So he got a group of, he had number 1, who is like Mr. Badass Super Ninja, and then like three Marines, and then some other people that are just
Super Ninja.
Yeah. And so
were there any Americans this time?
Huh? No,
was there any Americans
they were
this
also
time? Okay.
Korean.
So have you heard?
I was heard
they're doing a Squid Games USA,
right? But I want to say this real
but
quick.
it's supposed to be canonically in the same world.
That would make sense. Well,
It's just the version of the game happening in the U.S.
Right. I have no problem with that. In fact,
I think actually I'm
every country on the planet.
I'm kind of excited, and I think it'd be cool if you had. See, I assumed when I heard that was happening that Gihan was going to discover that one because he's supposed to be flying.
Maybe
with
he will. We don't know.
Because his family, he was supposed to go to America. Remember he was following them. That was
Let's
originally
see what
going to
happens
America.
at the end of season 2.5.
Yeah, go ahead.
But the so Hell Knight, so he gets all these people that can really fight well, right? However, they're not going to fight. Instead, they're going to hide under their beds.
Okay. The idea being everybody else
starts fighting. And number 1, because his whole thing is, remember, the motive of the people running the games is that these people are trash. These people are the dregs of society. They would kill each other anyway. So why not have some fun with it, right? That's kind of how they establish it in season 1. And so number 1 has some really interesting question or conversations with Dihan, right? Because he's like, so you're saying we should sacrifice people for the greater good.
He's asking him these philosophical. Golly. Well, remember, part of the thing is he thought he didn't realize, because Gihan's an idiot apparently, that they were going to alter the games.
Right.
So he went in assuming he'd be able to help.
But they knew Hell Knight was coming because that's inevitable.
Sure. Right. It's literally part of the anatomy of the game.
In fact, they call it the PlayStation buttons call it the special game.
Sure.
But Dihan's response was, if we fight, the sacrifice will be greater because the games will continue. And if the games continue, more people will die. Right. So yes.
I feel like that's flawed thinking.
Well, he's right in that it's kind, because if they do fight, because you have the X's and the O's and they're fairly evenly matched. And so if they fight, they'll do the same thing that happened in season 1. after a few people die, then all the PlayStation buttons will come in with their machine guns, say, okay, settle down, because they don't want everybody to die or the games would end.
Got
Right?
it.
So,
Got it. Okay. Okay. I'm with you.
yeah. And so the PlayStation buttons will stop the fighting, and then the games will just continue, and more people will die. Until it's just one person, just like the first time.
Sure.
Okay, so here's his plan, and it's brilliant. Okay, so remember, they were all lying under the bed. And the reason they were lying under the bed and purposely not fighting is to save their strength and their energy. So because everybody else was exhausted from fighting, right? Stabbing each other with forks. it was brutal. And so the fighting's going on, and then the PlayStation buttons come in, and then Dihan and his crew charge the PlayStation buttons, and they get their guns.
Really?
Yes. And so and then they grab their ammo out of their pockets and they start charging. In fact, there's a supervisor. So they do a lockdown, and they're to prevent them from getting out of the room. But one of the PlayStation buttons was a triangle, which is a supervisor, right? So he grabs the triangle and says, "Open that door, or we kill you now." And so he opened the door for them, right? And then they get to the weird pink staircases and stuff, and they have this bizarre gun battle with they're all on the staircases shooting at PlayStation buttons on other staircases, trying to storm the facility. This is the finale episode, by the way. The finale episode had one of the best gunfights I've ever seen. It was awesome. And so they're going through this whole gunfight, and I'm not going to get into all the details of it, but there were some complications and stuff, and it was a dramatic fight. Like, things happen where there are changes in the fight. We got to adjust here. We got to do this and all that. But remember, number one is fighting alongside of Dihan.
And he's the quote-unquote boss.
He's the boss of the whole thing. And in fact, at one point, they get one of the PlayStation buttons, and he's standing there, and they have guns on him. So he's puts his hands up, and they're like, "Take off your mask." So he takes his mask off, and then he glances and sees number one, and he's like, "What?" And then immediately number one shoots him in the head.
What? Really?
Yes, because he didn't want to give it away yet. And so they keep storming. They're trying to find the command center of this whole thing, going through this whole dramatic gun battle. They finally get to, and by the way, one of the Marines, I forgot to tell you, was Dihan's old childhood friend. And so they knew each other very well, right? And the two of them get all the way to the command center, but they're pinned down by some people. They need some backup. So on the radio, he calls for number one to grab a couple of guys and help him. So they get some ammo. They come up, and they're going to flank the guys that have him pinned down, right? So they go around the corner to come up behind the guys that are shooting at Dihan. And just as our two rebels are holding up their guns, the number one shoots them both in the back.
What?
And then he calls Dihan on the radio and says, "They got us. We couldn't."
You jerk.
And then as the other guy is gurgling and dying, he holds the microphone to him,
so that he can hear the sound. It's diabolical.
Yes. So then finally,
cool.
Of course, they get the two guys pinned down. They have to surrender because they run out of ammo and everything.
Of course, as one does.
Yes. And then Black Mask walks out in the Black Mask outfit, right?
Sure.
And he comes down and he's like, "You were a fool to try to take over, blah, blah, blah." And he's like, "We have to do what's right," kind of thing. And so then he takes off his mask. And he goes, "Now you're going to learn the consequences of trying to be the hero." And he shoots his best friend in the head. The end.
Wow.
And that's how they end it.
It's rough. It's rough, man.
Yeah.
It's rough.
But I was not expecting a full-on rebellion.
That's interesting though. I'm glad it didn't. I was almost worried that it was just going to be another rehash with new thing. Which some people wanted that. Some people
Yeah.
wanted new. Give me new
They did have
games
new
or
games,
whatever.
but they
Right.
only had a few new games, but they were actually kind of interesting.
Right on.
And of course, um, the games like oh man, they had one
What I
called
find fascinating is they haven't fallen prey to the trope of trying to pull the curtain back too much just yet.
right.
Because I was half expecting that, where you because we saw a little taste of there's rich people who are part of this thing in their audience, and who
Yeah,
are they and
they
where they
bet
come
on
from, and the
everybody
whole
and all
bit.
that.
And you know that the one guy used to be
But there's got
a
to be an
actual
organization
contestant,
that's got
and
this whole thing going,
right.
you know. And
Stanley says, "Now wait 6 months for the conclusion."
yeah, that's
True, no, true.
what pissed me off is that now because my wife and I watch that show together because we both really like Squid Games,
Sure,
and when we realized that's the last episode, it's like,
bombs.
oh, I was mad, you know, um, because Netflix is still into the binge theory, so they dropped all 7 episodes at once.
Did they really?
Yes,
Oh wow, okay. I
and
had heard for some reason I'd heard that they were coming out weekly. I don't know why.
nope, they dropped all at once.
Oh,
But it was excellently done. It was great to see. Of course, aside from Dion, the entire cast, Dion and number one, I guess you could say,
right.
yeah, everybody else is new but unlike last season, and this is something I really like, you get to know a lot of the players. So, because they're spending more time building character. Like there's this one transsexual dude and it's really funny because he looks like a girl, but he has a really deep masculine voice, right?
Right.
And the like, there's an old lady, and it turns out this really old lady that's like she's probably like 60 to 70, and her son is also in the games, and
Yes.
she got into the games so that she could pay her son's debts. Yeah. And you get to know these people, but the trans character was probably one of the most interesting. I really liked him, and so say what you want about wokeness or whatever. He was just a good character, and that's what I
Well,
like.
and here's the thing: I would never consider, frankly, an Asian culture like that too, because I've watched anime. Trans characters have been very, very prevalent in anime forever and
Yeah.
ever. So at the end of the day, like they play them more naturally than and the way I think people here should. If you
Right.
want, instead of trying to shove it in your face like it's a thing, just make it
Well,
like every other character, and
but
make that
but
character compelling.
I
And if the
like
only thing
that.
compelling about them is that they're trans, then you are not doing a good job writing that character.
Right, but I keep forgetting. Sorry, his trans thing was actually
I hate you so much. Stop.
a big part of his story. And the funny thing though is that she, I should say, because it's a man, biologically a man, but
Got it. Yeah, I'm
yeah,
with you. I'm with
he's
all the things.
he's had the breast implants, but not all the stuff, and that's why he has a deep voice. Which is funny because he has some conversations with the old lady that are hilarious because she's like, "Oh, that's why you sound like that," I've heard about people like you, but aren't they mostly in
I've
like
heard
sales?
about people like you.
Yeah. So uh, then, well, no, get this. So then when the fighting breaks out, when they try to storm the place,
Yeah.
he or she, I'm sorry, I keep saying he because it's such a deep voice. She teaches everybody how to use the machine guns.
Oh,
And
interesting.
yes. And so he's like, okay, so here's what you do. You pull this back, and then here's where the safety is. You click that on. You have a full auto and you have semi-auto. Since we're limited on ammunition, you want to use semi-auto only.
All of a
Conserve your
sudden,
yeah.
drops all the feminine affectation and is just like, all right, look,
Right.
this is how you do this thing. You're like,
And so
okay.
one of the guys walks up to him. And he's like, "How the hell do you know this?" And he's like,
I wasn't always.
no. And you know what his answer was? He goes, "I was special forces in the Marines."
Of course. Let's go. Let's go. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Right on, man.
So
Oh, very
yeah,
cool.
but he's just but he feels like he's in the wrong body, blah blah blah, and
Oh, sure.
he's in the games to pay for the rest of his transitioning.
Of course. Because
Yeah,
that's what you can.
yeah, which makes
I would
sense.
have been like, bro, help me out. I would totally take care of you. Sorry, girl, help me out. I will totally take care. The rest of what you got going on. All right. So what else? What else have we not covered?
Oh man! All right. Well, let's see. We talked about
Creep
Dune.
says I am not transphobic. I have a natural fear of women. Good call, Creep. I
Well, you're
feel
a
you on that,
nerd, so
brother.
you're naturally afraid of women. If you're like, oh look, a woman. Eh.
That's just nice.
Is she gone?
All right. So what else have? But seriously though, what else haven't we covered?
Help me out here. So
I had a list. I lost it. Do you still have the list?
you texted it to me, but
I did. Oh, that's right. That's right. That's right. That's right.
it'll be on the phone somewhere.
Yes. There you are. Let me go back. Let me see.
Oh yeah,
I
I think we
wouldn't
were going
go
to talk
long.
about Superman, weren't we?
The Superman trailer, which I loved.
Yeah. Yeah, the Superman trailer has me looking forward to Superman, but at the same time, I'm still pissed at Gunn because
Why?
I think that rebooting the DCEU was
You had to, though. Here's the reason you had to is because there was so much heaviness built into the Zack Snyderverse, and this is not even a dig at the Snyderverse. But I'm not even judging that. But
right.
it had so much of a like it was surrounded everything. Aquaman permeated it. All kinds of other
Yeah, but
stuff.
now
Just
Aquaman is freaking Lobo, and that makes no sense. I don't because Jason Momoa. Think
you
about it.
act like Jason Momoa is going to look like Jason Momoa. Lobo has white skin
No,
and facial tattoos and the
but he's
whole nine
got the long
yards.
hair, and he talks like, hey, dude. He's gonna sound like Aquaman, just with different
He's not
makeup.
Lobo is the roughest character ever. He will not be anything like Aquaman. I guarantee you.
All right,
Aquaman was a dude,
I'll
bro.
bet
Lobo's
you.
going to be a space biker.
I'll bet you.
Literally,
Well, I
he's
know he's
space
a
biker.
space biker, but I think he's going to have shades of Aquaman in his character. Like he's going to talk like Remember Aquaman was a dynamite, awesome, woohoo! I think he's going to be like that.
He never once said dynamite. You're going to hell. He
I
did
know,
not say
but
dynamite.
you know what I'm saying.
No, I got you. But so what I just again to me it feels like Superman. I don't care. It feels like
Oh, sure.
Superman. It feels I love everything I feel when I'm watching the trailer, which I've
I
watched
thought
many
Nathan
times.
Fillion as Guy Gardner was awesome.
I don't care what anybody says. Crypto is going to steal the show, but he's not
Crypto,
that.
oh frick
According to
yeah.
James Gunn, he is not what you see him be the whole time.
But
That's like
I
at
like
that
that. But
point.
Crypto looks like Crypto from the comics.
100%. I
Yeah.
love it. Love it.
So I do like. I mean, it does look very much like this is a DC comic book on film.
Come to life.
Yeah. I know some people are upset because there's so many characters that they've shown so far. We've had this mysterious Ultraman-ish character. We have, Green Lantern. We've got Hawk Girl. We've got,
Mr. Terrific.
yeah, Mr. Terrific. Of course, Lex Luthor.
Metamorpho.
Yeah. And so with all these superhero and of course
We're gonna
Godzilla apparently.
we're gonna get into that. Trust me. No, that's
Oh yeah,
Metamorpho.
Creature Commandos. We need to talk about Creature Commandos because
Absolutely.
yeah,
Which, by the way, I have listened to that soundtrack over and over and over again.
whatever. But
Whatever, man. That is amazing. That's so
excuse
good.
me, let
It's
me
so
go
good.
leave my opinion of the soundtrack. Hold
That's a good idea. Yeah, go leave it over there somewhere. It's okay. That's about what I would expect. That's what the little salt demon to do.
on.
No, I thought it was great.
All right.
Great.
So anyway, with all the characters that they're showing, I've heard people express a fear, and I can totally understand that this is going to feel like a Guardians of the Galaxy movie, because there's just
He's
so
he's he has systematically said that it's exactly not. So
right,
this is a specifically a Superman centric. It is about
right,
him figuring
and
out where he lives, what he's about,
well, and
figuring
that's why
out.
I think that most of these characters are going to be cameos.
Well, and
Like
not to mention, he lives in a hello. If
he li-
you really do a comic book world, it is filled with characters.
right, and so
So they're
I
going to
think
be
that
characters who into overlap constantly.
right. My guess is that most of the characters show up when Godzilla attacks, because Godzilla frickin' attacks, right? So
So first off, dinner bells. That's where she's worried about too many member berries and too much Guardian-esque humor. The member berries, I'm not really sure what we're talking about because they've never done other than maybe calling. They have to call back to things because this is an established DC universe, meaning Superman
right,
exists,
he's not
Batman
doing
exists.
origin stories here.
Right. And then Guardian-esque humor, there's none of that. There's humor like normal humor would ever be like in a Marvel anything or something,
But there
but
really
it's
isn't
not.
much
This is not
humor in the
Guardians.
trailer. If
He's
you
he's flat out said this is. There will be no, very few, if any, needle drops, meaning music or songs.
right,
This is an orchestrated. This is a scored movie,
right.
very much in line with other stuff we've
Although
seen. It is a
he
Superman movie, true through and through.
that's where I think the biggest mistake of the trailer was to use the John Williams theme
You're foolish. You're foolish. Really? Let me
no,
ask
no,
you a
no, no,
question.
let
Do
me
you
finish.
judge every
Let
James
me
Bond
finish.
movie?
Let me finish my sentence. Jeez.
Whatever, man. I've heard this argument, but go on.
Okay. I think that converting it to an electric guitar, as they did. Now, I'm all for. I love the John Williams theme. Don't get me wrong, but I think they should have used an orchestra and done a slowed down version of it for the soundtrack, like they did do a slowed down version, but not on an electric guitar, because I think that electric guitar is a big part of why everybody thinks this is going to be needle drop central, like Guardians of the Galaxy.
Do you realize in what you're talking about? It's the only instrument being used. You know what that's called?
Yeah,
Stylistic. That's
I
not,
no,
he
no,
didn't rescore the entire John Williams song in rock and roll. It was
no,
literally
I
a
understand
couple
that.
of
I
notes.
understand that.
Like,
I'm not saying it wasn't a stylistic choice or
the
anything.
other thing is, hold on, but let's go through history, shall we? How many times has the James Bond song been revamped, but ultimately still is the James Bond song? It's been revamped at least 3 times, but it's ultimately always been at its core that thing. Same thing with Mission Impossible. They've had at least a dozen versions, and it's always that song. This just feels like another version. Everybody who wants to pretend that this is he's doing what these other things have done. Nobody questions the fact that with every James Bond, we have the exact same song.
Well,
There's no reason for that to be
We
different.
haven't talked about James Bond on this channel, and so don't say nobody, because I, for one, like the classic James Bond theme, and I don't like when they like, oh, let's do it like grunge because it's the '90s. Let's do it like techno because it's the aughts. You know,
I get you. You're salty. I understand.
yeah,
That's it's you're
I
being
do
you being
prefer
you, and I get it. I
I
get
do
it.
prefer the classics, and with Superman, that John Williams theme is one of my favorite themes of all time.
Of
And
course, me too.
and of course, John Williams is one of the best score composers of all time, and I don't think there's too many people that would argue with that. However, I do think what
Creep says, "Am I watching a professor of rock or nerd fights?"
I don't know what the Professor of Rock is.
It's you, apparently, Mister. Whatever. Go on. Or maybe it's me. He could be meaning me. Stanley says, "You mean the Top Gun Superman theme?"
Yeah,
Yes, the
and
Top Gun
yeah,
Superman theme.
and so I didn't care for that
It's
just because.
one point in a. I guarantee you that
No,
is not
look,
going to
I'm
be
not
the
saying it's a
theme
bad
throughout.
trailer. I'm not saying it's a bad trailer. I love the trailer. Okay,
I'm not, dude. I'm not. That's fine. I'm just saying the thing is, people want to sit here and attack this thing, and I'm like, guys, what did I
I
mean? Come
I know
on.
people look for things to hate because that's the culture. But and I didn't hate this trailer. I thought it was a really good trailer. It's got me absolutely looking forward to seeing that movie.
You
Now,
got Lois Laning. You got Jimmy
yeah,
Olsening.
is it my
You
most
know
yeah, is it my most anticipated movie of 2025? No.
what
My
is
Fantastic Four.
fair?
Yeah.
It's fair.
I've been waiting.
I think Superman probably is mine. Fantastic Four is very tight second.
I have been waiting for a real Fantastic Four movie since 1977.
What? Hold on. We've gotten real Fantastic Four movies. Whether
No,
or not you like Doctor Doom, yes, we absolutely have. Those
we've
movies from the '90s were excellent Fantastic Four movies. They
no,
just maybe
no, they
there's
were excellent.
pieces.
They were excellent Human Torch and Thing movies. They were not excellent
That's
Fantastic
the
Four movies.
second one, maybe. The first one was literally all about Reed and Doctor
I
Doom and everybody how they got their powers
Right,
and the whole
and
nine
but the thing
yards.
is that so they changed Doom's character in a stupid way, and in fact, Latveria was just mentioned as kind of an afterthought at the end of the movie.
Well, that's hold on. That's a product of the era and how the era used to handle
I'm
comic
not
book
saying,
things.
but you know what? It's still in the movie. I'm just saying. I don't care what era it came from. If I'm talking about a
I
Bond movie from 1960s where,
I
Sean
absolutely
Connery
mean
slaps
Quattro
some women around,
Fantasticos.
huh?
I absolutely Darren asks, do you mean Quattro Fantasticos? Yes, I do. I
I,
100%, dude. That's the so
I don't.
somebody else said somebody posted the picture that what's his name Pedro Pascal put out of him, and it's right up. And I literally was like, "This is Reed Richards.
Yeah.
I was saying the same thing with my friend. I was like, it's awesome. I mean, I'm down. And the bad part was because it was behind the scenes footage, it wasn't actually from the movie.
Right.
You can the what they're using on to make him look gray on the sides literally looks like they went to the Spirit Halloween store, smudged some gray on the edges, and you're done.
Well,
I'm sure on
that's what
camera it looks great.
Joseph or whatever, however you say his name in Swedish or whatever, um, uh, that his hair
Dinner
looked terrible.
Dinner Bell said, "Sorry, I should have specified member berries in the sense there'll be character events DC fans will know, but the casual moviegoer won't." Okay,
Yeah,
that's
because
I think that's a fair concern.
right,
I think
because
that's
like
a
when
fair
Green
concern.
Lantern shows up, Green Lantern is not an A-lister like Batman or Wonder
And
Woman.
aside from the Ryan Reynolds movie, we really haven't seen much Green Lantern in movies. So
Right.
you're
Well, that's
right.
the
How do
only
we
time, really.
explain who this stuff is?
Yeah, that's the only time we've seen him in a major production, and of course it was a complete disaster. Um, but I think it opens the door for bringing in Jon Stewart and Hal Jordan, and doing like a Green Lantern Corps movie, which could be interesting.
Which, yeah, that's
I
exactly
absolutely.
what's
By the way,
supposed to.
I can't remember who said
It's
it
a
in my.
series. They're doing a series.
Okay, but
The Lantern Corps.
whoever said it in my prior live stream, I stand by it 100%. Please make it happen. Idris Elba as
You
John
are
Stewart.
you are very committed. No, but they've already cast him.
Oh, did they? Who
Yeah,
is it?
he's the guy from that Netflix Marine movie. The gentleman. Oh my gosh, his name has just escaped me. Hold on. Lanterns
Fire him and get
series.
Idris Elba.
No, shut up. Idris Elba doesn't look anything like him.
Idris
I know
Elba.
you want him to do. This guy's not bad, and the movie he was in Netflix was excellent. Lanterns. Where is it? Lanterns TV series. Here it is. He's been cast. Where is he? Here he is. Aaron Pierre. Aaron Pierre is going to play Jon Stewart. And of
I don't
course,
know
Kyle
who that
Chandler's
is.
playing Hal. Aaron Pierre is the guy who played in the. He was in that Netflix movie about that Marine who goes to that small town and gets and he ends up having to kick a whole bunch of bad police officers' butts. It's essentially, to me, it was a rehash of the old Walking Tall storyline,
Hold
except that
on.
he doesn't become the sheriff of the town.
Let me go look him up. Hold on. I'll be right back.
Yeah, yeah. Aaron Pierre. He's actually the thing is Aaron. The other thing I like. Forget about casting. Aaron Pierre has dove into the culture.
Is it one or
He
two
has two A's.
Aaron Pierre?
Yes.
Okay. Because it sounded like you were saying Aaron Peter.
No, sorry, Pierre, like French, like Pierre.
Yeah. And he's English. That's
No, but he's good. He's really. You see, he's
well. So I mean,
super.
so is Idris Elba, but that's.
He's jumping deep into the culture, which I think is of
Man,
the Green Lantern and everything else.
I
The
feel so
guy's a
freaking old.
powerhouse.
Oh my god, I feel so old. He was born June 7th, 1994. My daughter was born in 1995.
Dude, I graduated high school in '97. Like think about
You know what?
that.
Don't make me come down there and punch you. I will. Okay.
I love it.
You know what? He looks like a badass Will Smith.
He totally does. Legit. That's great. He's alternate universe Will Smith. But
Yeah.
what I love about him is he's really immersing him. He's like, unlike, I'll use a great example that we all hate. Unlike all the Star Wars people who are like, we're going to take a different take at this and we're going to try to make the material better. He's like, I got the comics. I'm figuring out how to really epitomize that character because he's ex-military,
So
which he's into his
he took it
training.
seriously.
Very. I'm really, really
I mean,
excited to see
like
him.
Chadwick Boseman did when he got Black Panther. Several of the Marvel people, they started reading comics as soon as they got their parts.
And they're like, let's figure it out. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm excited for him for sure.
Yeah. And by the way, and so speaking of transitions, so of course they are recasting Black Panther now.
Which, yes, finally,
Yes.
smart. And honestly, Secret Wars is the best opportunity to do it.
Exactly. So they're going to probably bring him in from another universe.
Right. And the thing is, everybody's like, it's going to be a reboot. No, Marvel never reboots. They need to reboot the comic books. What they do is they do a soft reboot, which is just you have to deal with. That's how Miles Morales ended up in the regular Spider-Man
Right.
world. Is that they just sort of say, okay, these things work, and now this is the new reality you have to
Right.
deal with. And you're like,
Yeah,
okay.
Marvel created other universes, and they would like I remember, and I actually bought like the first issue of everything in it was the New Universe.
Yes.
You remember New Universe?
Yes. By the way,
And
Darren said they should have recast Black Panther in the first place, and he is absolutely correct. I
yeah,
100%
and
agree.
I will agree with you on that. But the new universe, like they had a team called DP7.
Really?
And DP7 was freaking awesome because
Nice.
they were a superhero team of 7 people. But keep in mind, this is in the new universe, right? And so these are not like Superman or Omega level or whatever. These are people with weird mutations. So one of them's name is
That's awesome.
he goes by Mastodon, right?
Right
And
on.
basically, and these people were all basically experimented on by evil corporation, and so that's why they have their abilities. Mastodon has this condition that is extraordinarily painful because he's constantly having muscle spasms as his muscles get bigger,
Ooh, interesting.
and so he's in constant pain, but he's really strong.
I think I know what you're talking. Isn't this the one where the Hulk ended up like really like being like
No,
a
no,
radiation
remember, this
monster?
was a separate universe. There were no traditional Marvel
There was
characters.
I think maybe it was My Earth
It might have
X.
come
I think.
later because in
Yeah,
the early new universe, it was a completely separate entity. There was
that's interesting. I gotta look
Starburst.
this up.
Yeah, there were. Then one of the guys was kind of like actually a character from Deadpool, where basically he just has acidic body fluids,
Wow,
and
DP7
yeah,
Justice
and so like he could spit and it was like alien blood. It would dissolve anything. But
Spitfire
also
and the Troubleshooters.
yeah, and so also like if he just put his hand on something, the oils of his skin would slowly dissolve whatever he touched. And so one of his things was he was constantly having to change his clothes
That's hilarious.
because
Hey, I didn't realize how I know that we've been on for so long. I actually do have things I have to do today.
excuse me.
I didn't realize. Shut up. I know we have so much to talk about. I'm just.
um,
I hate you, bro. I hate you so much.
okay, but before we go, we do need to talk a little bit about Creature Commandos.
Creature
Not
Commandos.
I get you
I
love
thought
the
it was
music.
excellent.
Okay, I
No,
didn't
I thought it was
notice.
excellent.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not actually puking about the music because I just didn't notice the music. So
So it was that weird. It was that like punk gypsy punk rock. It was
hmm,
really it was so interesting. And I found out he created a playlist on Spotify. So I went and found somebody had done a version on YouTube,
yeah.
and I found it's the songs, and it's actually a band which is pretty out of Jersey, which I think is interesting. And they do this kind of music, and it's very, like I said, it's very gypsy rock, which I thought was very cool.
Now the show reeked of James Gunn.
Oh,
Um, I know he
100%, which
wrote.
I'm
I know
fine
he
with.
wrote the whole
Well,
thing,
it ripped of James Gunn, but let's look in context. It's spinning off from the Suicide Squad world. You got Waller, you have
right? But this is
the
canon
Rick
to
Flag
the DCU.
Senior. I know, but the vibe is still the same. Just because you change what you're doing, his vibe was always what his vibe was going to be. His vibe is
Have a
what
good one,
sold
Miss Money Penny.
everybody. It was sold us on him.
Right, but um, I will say this. Did I think it was well done? Yes, but I do think that
He says, "Is Creature Commandos a good example of how Gunn is approaching the DCU?" Stanley, my response is no. It is a good example of how Gunn approaches Waller and the Suicide Squad type corner of the DCU.
so.
That's very consistent.
Let me correct Mister Know It All and
No,
say,
yeah, no need to correct me, sir. I
no,
know what I said.
yes, I do. Now you shut up for me
I
before I
beg to
puke you.
differ.
So the correct
Okay.
answer is we don't know.
I disagree. I think it's not at all because Superman feels nothing like Creature
Right.
Commandos. Not in
I
the
did
least.
not want to see
You know what
animated.
Creature Commandos?
I did not
What?
want to see animated naked sex. I
Bro, I was so floored when I was like, "What
I
am?" And I'm because I'm like, "What did I just see? What is happening here?" And then
yeah
it gets worse, and
right
by worse I mean more extreme. And I'm like, "What
yeah
is going
I
on?"
did not
Then there's
I found
necrophilia.
yeah
What is happening? We're gonna get demonetized just for that.
right I felt that the movie was or the series was tacky and inappropriate at times. However, if you cut out those parts, like where Flag is boning the chick and all that, um, then was it a
See,
good?
but the thing is, it made sense in context. I'm gonna go with what you just mentioned.
Right,
At the very end, last episode, what's her face qualifies the bride, when she's talking to the princess girl, she says to her, I see you got him under you slept with him to get him in your side, this and this, this, like she puts the pieces together in a way that I was like,
I
oh
get
my
that, but they
God.
could have implied the sex, you know.
Stanley's dead right. You're dead right. The animated gore was already done better in Invincible.
Yeah,
I
I would
agree.
agree 100%. Invincible was a better
I agree.
show.
I don't know. See, the problem is I don't like Invincible's animation style. I feel like there's a
I
lot of
get
lazy
that, but
scenes.
I think that
There
the
are lazy
story.
there are lazy moments in that.
I would agree, but I think Invincible has a much stronger story.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
It's Superman meets Dragon Ball Z
right.
because his
Well, I've
those are
never watched Dragon Ball Z, so
those are the Viltrumites are the Saiyans. They're a warriors race that gets stronger and lives longer over time. It's literally from an anime concept, which is fine. That's literally what
right.
Alex or what's
They're
his
just
name
a
Kirkman
planet.
does.
It's like Krypton if Krypton had a yellow sun.
Sure.
That's
Yeah,
uh,
totally.
but which is funny because our sun is actually white. It only
Hey,
appears yellow because of the atmosphere. But anyway,
moving on.
and yes, so and of course we know the sun is 250 miles away.
Stop it. Stop before you get your. Everybody's been well behaved. I want everyone to keep behaving.
But
But
anyway,
no,
so I liked Weasel a lot, but I did not like that they tried.
I thought, come on. What didn't you like? Go on.
I did not like, and this is it's obviously this is not a Disney production, but Disney kind of started this trend where they try to make all the bad people in this Suicide Squad Plan B to be actually they're just misunderstood.
The thing is, but it made it no, it's not so yes, but also based on what he's got going on. Because this is the thing, yes, Dr. Phosphorus, totally misunderstood. He still chose to be a murdering killer afterwards. That's on him.
Right, but
His origin
Dr.
can be his
Phosphorus is the
origin.
exception.
And then
Weasel,
Weasel, I felt like
Weasel was
Weasel's
totally
still
innocent.
he's still an ant, which there's no what is wrong with that? What is wrong with the
But he's totally
extreme
innocent.
aspect of it?
Weasel didn't kill anybody.
No, he didn't, but they assumed he did. And they wanted to make
Because
him out to
some
be a
stupid
scapegoat. I
redneck
don't
wanted to kill him.
But who wanted to do it, I could care less about. But the point
Right.
is, I can see that misunderstanding. He's a monster. It's Frankenstein all day, even though we actually got Frankenstein in this.
Yeah. Frankenstein was the one that was basically
Bro,
I liked him a lot
I loved
because
David Harbour's characterization.
David Harbour knocked it out of the park with Frankenstein because
How he talks,
yeah
brilliant.
because he's intellectual but he has no moral center.
And he's super naive about this one thing and refuses to see anything else. And I'm like,
Right.
wow.
And he's like, "Oh, so you're no longer useful to me, so let me kill you real quick."
Yeah.
And to him that's like no big deal. He
Right.
doesn't even conceive of the idea that just squishing someone's head and turning it into goo is a bad thing.
Right on. All
So
right. Well, listen, I do absolutely have to go because I actually have family waiting for me to go with them.
so
Somewhere
Mr.
we have to go now.
Know-It-All is backing out again. So once again, Nerd
Yes.
Fights is canceled. We're never
Aravic
gonna be
on me
on
real
again.
quick. Aravic, I want you to know the reason Salty his webcam's not working and he still wanted to have something representing him on screen. That's why he did
No,
it.
don't let him lie. The truth is that he's true that I'm having technical problems, but it's just that the filter I usually use to change my appearance broke, and so this is actually me.
This is the real you. You're actually a salt monster. Can I tell you one day you need to do cosplay? You got to paint yourself up and do the whole
Dude,
nine
you know how
yards.
hard? Look at that mouth, man. That prosthetic would be really hard to do.
I've got to go, you guys. I will talk to you. Do you want? Are you staying live? You can stay live with them if you
No.
want.
I got things to do as well. So you're
All
wrapping
right.
up. All right, guys. Remember, you are the salt of the earth, but I am the salty trekker, and nobody loves a know-it-all.